And what is up? Welcome back. It is Friday night, and you're here with the Average Boys Podcast. It's your boy Crispy, and I am here, of course, with my boy Brian. Brian, what is up, my dude?
Yo, what's going on, Chris? Everyone listening, everyone watching, what the hell is going on, man? How's your week been, bro?
Good. Did pretty good. You know, it's a pretty solid week. You know, did my stuff, did my editing, did my graphics design stuff, working on some other little baby projects here and there. Just keep myself busy. Okay. Still looking for work. I'm still out there trying to apply to a bunch of different places. I put a good amount of applications this week for graphics design jobs. And you know what? As a matter of fact, I even applied because I saw a really cool advertisement. Of course, just like everybody else out in the working industry, I use Indeed, the app, to kind of look for stuff. And I get this really cool update that's like jobs that are recommended, I guess.
Okay.
I guess you could say. And there was one for CBR. You know, as a matter of fucking fact, comic book reader.
Really?
The one that we literally use for reference. They were looking for writers. They were looking for writers for columns, and they want like three columns a week and all this stuff. And I was
what was the criteria? That had to have been like nuts.
It wasn't even anything. It was like just having some experience when it comes to, of course, writing. That's what they're really looking for. Yeah. So I don't have any blog experience or blog writing. And I was like, hey, I don't have that, but I have a fucking podcast. Like, and I've been doing this shit for like years, bro. And over like, 200 episodes, or at least almost close to 200 episodes, 2 hours long. I was like,
you should have, you should have doctored up your resume. You should have lied, fool.
I went prettified, bro. I did it super pretty. I dotted the T's and the I's, and I threw my chance. And then, of course, they give a little description of a side note of what you want to put. And I don't got the opportunity to send you my portfolio, but here's the link to my podcast. We cover comic books, video games, anything nerd news, and we talk for 2 hours, 3 hours. And I guarantee if you want someone that can cover comic books and everything, I could definitely do it. If I can cover a 2 hour live,
I'm just gonna put this out there right now. If you ever get like a job like that and become like big time, I've already seen what happens when a little bit of fame goes to your head when you're an actor. I don't even want to. I don't even want to see you get big time with like a job like this, and then you forget about us little people.
It'd
be
cool though, man. It'd be good. I mean, like I don't agree. Like most of the time with some of the stuff, like some of the articles that they put out, but I guarantee it gives them a more diverse opportunity to have people with different mindsets. And I've always been a very understanding person when it comes to like all the different natures of all the different series and stuff. I mean, fuck, we even like tried to do a positive note on Velma last week. You know what I mean? And that was hard, man. It's still hard.
Yo, did you watch it? Yo, did you get a chance to watch?
I still have it.
Yo, man. That was our one job. I didn't watch either. I can't.
I don't have the fortitude. I don't have the desire to want to watch it, man. Ever since like, okay, it's not the fact that like I've seen a couple of bad reviews. It's just that the drastic amount of people that are like, this is extremely bad.
Yeah, I just know we spent like an hour and a half on that topic, and we still haven't watched it.
We still haven't watched it, man. Shout out to everybody in the comment section. David, Alex, Robert, Eels, my guys. What is up, my guys? Hope everybody's doing good. Hope everybody had a good week. Here we are Friday, back to the podcast, talking nerd news and stuff. We got some okay topics. It's been casually a good, slow kind of week, but we do have some big information that we're going to be dropping. Of course, we have some Marvel leak news that came out. A lot of it during this past week. We had a bunch of people commenting on it. We're going to talk about, of course, Titans and the Doom Patrol getting canceled from CW. Of course, we got Avatar talks. Of course, I know that everyone heard about this past week, but there is the Rick and Morty drama that Adult Swim has dropped some bad information too on that. Last of Us, and of course, the Shazam trailer. But Brian, how about you, man? How's everything going up in the real cities, dude? Away from all the countryside like us.
Dude, it's been quite crazy the past 2 weeks, just at my job and my personal life. And it's cold. It's, you know what the problem is the weather up here. Like, it's been cold and just been raining for like 2 months straight. It's
Oh
been
yeah, I heard, yeah.
miserable up here. We were supposed to get like this huge snowstorm yesterday, day before yesterday. We never got that, thank God. But other than that, I mean, it's been relatively good. How about yourself though, sir? Talk to me. What's going on?
Yesterday, I think I was telling this off camera, and I mean, a lot of people saw. I had kind of like a venting moment. You know, I had a what is it, like a show of weakness, in my opinion.
A show of weakness.
Yeah, I mean, it's different, right? Because I've always been like, I've had like a warrior mentality. Like, it's about being strong, being effective, you know, doing your due diligence and going out there and doing manly shit. And
what is hold on, what is manly shit? I want to know.
I don't know. It's just, you know, it's the template.
You guys go like chopping wood with your hands and
yeah,
shit.
Dude.
Is that what manly shit
when
is?
When you cut the yard, you don't use a lawnmower, you use scissors, bro, or you use fucking hedge clippers. You use a rake, and you got to cut it off like an inch.
You guys use your teeth to cut hedges and shit like that. Like,
yeah, you pick up the grass at the end, you throw it in your salad, dude, because you don't waste anything here.
Go in a river and just like pluck a fish with your hand and shit like that. Dude,
that's what it is, man. That's how we hunt down here. We don't go to HEB to get steak.
Listen, I just think we owed it to our fans just to clarify exactly what you meant by that. Okay, sir, you can continue. Go ahead.
Yeah, most def. Yeah, I had in my personal life. I don't know what it is, and I mean, maybe you guys can kind of give me your opinions. We're not doctors, you know what I mean? We're not psychologists here. I was taking some vitamins, which I've been taking for a while, and I kind of feel like they're kind of like unbalancing me a bit, I guess you could say, because I ended up, we hunt deers with forks. It's the way the valley works. Boy.
Edgar, that's along the lines of what I hear when.
Yeah, we don't go to supermarkets. We go to super ranches and we hunt our own market shit. Yeah. We just do it our own self.
Guys barter with grass and shit. I got you. I got it.
I had yeah, it was really rough for me just to get out of bed, like just to get moving. It was rough, and then my sleep schedule's been all fucked up, and I can't get it right. And that's because I'll stay awake for a whole ass like 2 days and then get to sleep at a proper time and then wake up at a proper time. Mm-hmm. But then that next day when I wake up at the proper time, I'll stay awake past the midnight time and keep going into the late nights. And then I'll try to go to sleep and it'd be again 3, 4 in the morning. And then I go to sleep and then I wake up and it's like 10, 11 farther than where I should be waking up. Okay. And then sometimes it kind of goes over where it's past 12, past 1. I'll have my days where I keep sleeping. I go right through the alarms. And it's just like, dude, like I can't be doing that. Like I don't have that extra time in my life being, you know, in my 40s, not late 40s, but like in my 40s to kind of still be in this rut where I'm, you know, not taking care of my own personal shit. It's a difficult time and a difficult understanding to be like, I don't think there's ever a cap on the time limit when it comes for people to be like chasing dreams and chasing opportunities and shit like that. But then you look at it and you're like, well, if I just got a normal job and just stopped, like I could just live a normal life, like just like everybody else claims that's a normal life.
What does that mean?
I don't know. Like it's very weird. Like it's like I said, it's like those themed, nurtured ideals that it's the way that you're supposed to be. It's the white picket fence, the married at 18 to 20, 3 kids at 30, and then, you know, retire at 60 and then enjoy your 5 years of retirement before you fucking can't walk, croak, or shit yourself. And you can't really do anything with the shit you've earned. And then that's it. Like, and then it all just comes to an end. And you just see, I think that's the other thing that's been killing me too, is like, I've kind of slowly caught myself being more addicted to like fast social media, which is like the TikTok stuff or like the shorts. Mm-hmm. I find myself like literally lost in time going through it. And by the time I realize I've been on it for such a long time, it's like fucking 40 minutes later. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck is going on? Like, where did I go? Like I disappear. Like almost like my brain disappears. My ADHD is completely topped off. Like I'm just like, yeah, fuck yeah, ADHD taken care of. But I kind of told myself that I need to kind of get myself away from the online shit for not like the social media, not like the podcasting and the resources and researches that we do.
I get what
more
you
of
mean.
Like the social media itself. And then
just
I
putting
end
the
up,
phone down type of thing.
yeah, and just enjoying what's around me, just what's around me at that moment. And if there's not anything around me, just step outside. And there's more than enough in your front yard that is already different from you being trapped inside.
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, I think that's my biggest thing.
I don't think you should feel, and I don't want to cut you off. I kind of want to let you cook on this because I know this is a bigger topic here.
Yeah.
But I think you shouldn't be so hard on yourself for the fact that you being on social media isn't just because you're bored. Like that is by design. We all have been manipulated and to a point where we feel like we need social media or where it's taken over so much of our lives that it's just ingrained in everything that we do. That's not just you being you. Like I think that's a little bit of programming as well. So yeah. Just putting your phone down, stepping away is always a good a good option in that case.
Yeah, and it's one of those things like I've caught myself because again, like I'm like a thinker. Like I'm always trying to figure out things and I'm always trying to come to like a better conclusion.
Yeah.
And I find myself comparing my life to other people that on Facebook or TikTok at that moment have a better situation going for them.
Okay.
But I end up looking at multiple people seeing and comparing it to one life.
Okay.
So like you'll see like one person going to work. Okay. One person going to the gym. Cool. Another person on vacation somewhere. Cool. All right. And another person dedicating their time to someone special. And then you're kind of like, man, I really wish I had that. But my brain at that moment doesn't differentiate it that, well, what those other people have 24 hours in a day. I'm almost like I'm isolating those different stories to one person in my mind and comparing it to like, well, why don't I have that? Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. I mean, again, I didn't want to jump
wild,
in, but it makes, I mean, you don't see what those people go through. You
day.
might see them, yeah, you might see them 2 hours out of a day on their stream, or you might see a clip of them for like an hour on YouTube. But those other 23 hours, you have no idea what these people are going through. You have no idea the sacrifices, the hardships, and the things that they go through on a daily basis just to bring, you know, content and enjoyment to the masses. So again, I think you're being a little bit hard on yourself. I too go through the same deal, and I think we're around the same age. Yeah. So I do get the whole, you know, feeling like time's running out and you gotta like, you know, push the like push down on the gas or whatever. But yeah, I think just being too hard on yourself could kind of amplify some of the feelings that you're alluding that you're feeling right now. So
like I know it sounds kind of corny, but like what do you guys do when it comes to being in like a depressive state? Like, and I'm talking like, I'm not talking about that shit where you're like, man, I haven't been touched in a while. Like, I don't give a fuck about that. Like, I mean, like, where you don't want to. And I don't like, that's the easiest way to put it. Like, I don't even have to put a fucking adjective behind that or a verb. Like, what do you do when you just don't want to?
Continuously masturbate. Just I'm joking.
Fucking vigorously, dude.
Just chain smoking masturbations. No, no, honestly, I get outside. I get out the house. I find things that I like to do. I like to be out with friends. I like to, you know, go to wrestling shows, local and, you know, professional. I just, you know, whatever your thing is, whatever your you know, point of release or just whatever, just find something. And I was telling you a little bit off mic that like being in that funk, being in that rut, being in that frame of mind and not having a way to release that is probably the most dangerous places you can be. I myself suffer from bouts of depression, and it gets rough. It gets really rough.
Yeah.
But having people to talk to, having people to vent to, having, you know, a way of venting or releasing some of that is always the best option. And it's, and honestly, sometimes if you're not in a situation where you have someone to talk to or a way of release, you can just pay somebody, get a therapist, get someone to talk to, get someone that is going to listen and actually give you some, unbiased judgment and help you along your way. Find help. Like there's definitely ways to cope with it. So
yeah, it was
me
pretty
anyway.
interesting yesterday. I put up the post. I put up a little small story in my Facebook, and I got a lot of response from friends. That almost like it wasn't like how they do like bro checks.
Yeah.
You know what a bro check is, right? Like that's like where someone hits you up and they're like, "Hey man, are you all right?"
Yeah.
And all this stuff. And sometimes that's good, but sometimes it feels like people do that because they know that that's what they're supposed to do. And it feels like they're just offering a question so that you can answer something. But the ones that were really catching me on an emotional level were the people that would hit me up and be like, I feel that. Like, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not really saying like, hey man, tell me what you feel, but telling me straight up like, shit, dude, I know exactly what you're going through right now. Almost like at that moment in time, like they're going through it also. And when I heard that, it was more like, okay, cool. Well, at least I don't feel like I'm in some corner or like I'm in a room in a prison box. And then from there, it's like I can be the person to be like, well, what are you doing right now? Like, well, what are you feeling? And then they say what they feel, and it's very similar to the way that my vibes are or my mental mindset. And I'm kind of like, all right, well, what are you doing like at the moment to get over it? They'll tell me like, oh, I'm baking or I'm cooking or I'm drawing or I'm playing games or I'm doing something. Like they're in the process of doing something to allow that vibe to get out of them. And then, yeah, it makes me feel a lot better because then I can correlate and be like, hey, well, you know what, dude, like, thanks. You know what I mean? Like, thanks for hitting me up because now I know, like, I'm not the only person that's just in my bed at the moment. Like, I'm not the only person that thinks that my life just sucks and everybody else has it good. Like, someone out there is kind of like roughing it too. And yeah, I ended up getting over it casually pretty well. I went to the gym with my students and
you know what helps me when I'm looking at social media and I'm looking at these people, I'm like, yo, they have it just as rough as I do, bro. Like there's like that's the one thing that I don't think I'll ever subscribe to when it like I can't sit there and look at someone on social media and say, they have more than me. I don't know what they have. I don't. I can only attest to my journey and what my outcome should look like from my perspective and just focus on that. Because if you start worrying about what somebody's, because most of them are lying anyway. Most of them are miserable and unhappy and doing it for the money, and it's all
it's
fake.
almost like they're fabricating for the reputation.
It's all fake. It's all fucking fake, dude. Yeah. So like, don't be so hard on yourself, man. Just cut out whatever path works for you and stick to it. And
I'm trying now. I'm trying even better. I got some really cool stuff. Like I said, like I went to the gym yesterday with my students. I go and I teach my MMA classes, and one of my guys was like, "Well, what are you doing to better the situation?" And I was like, "Well, I'm just doing what I need to do just to get by and do my things." And he gave me that, hey man, I watch some life coaches and they tell me about doing a journal, or you wake up and you do your bed. And, there's all these little things that people have to get through it better.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I've told you this before. Like I'm one of those people that I get up and I kind of do things already. Like I have a bunch of projects that I like slam down before I, finish my day. And I've gotten to this point that sometimes when I do these projects, there's no gratification.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no goal oriented thing that happens at the end that I'm like, yeah, I got it done. Boy, do I feel better. Like I don't feel that vibe anymore.
Yeah.
I just, cause those things, like, I feel like I work better under stress and timelines and stuff like that. And it always feels good just to get my jobs done in general. And, you feel that thing where like you if you're going to tell someone you're going to do something, you get it done. You know what I mean? But I think I saw online that someone was like, well, I'm going to start writing a journal. I think a journal entry would be pretty good, like writing about your day.
Okay.
And I kind of feel like that's kind of compelling for me because I can analyze those notes at the ending of the month and then dictate where my time is going correctly.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I can kind of like make it a little bit maybe better for myself. If not, list all the projects I'm doing and check mark them when I'm done. I think those might be two positive situations or two positive ways that I could kind of like fix these enduring nature that I'm in right now.
Try them all. Try them all. Try whatever you think could possibly work and see which one sticks. That's you have unlimited amount of time to find that. So yeah, man. And trust me, you're not alone. You can always reach out. Listen, I'm sure you've got plenty of people that you can reach out to. Me being one of them. So yeah, dude, whenever you're never alone. And trust me, and I think one of the worst things I could do here is be like, oh, I've been there too. But I got to be honest with you, I have been there. I needed people to talk to. I needed people to reach out to. And luckily, you know, I've had that. So even in that spot, you know, we are blessed, you know. So again, don't be too hard on yourself, man.
Yeah, I'm going to do my best, guys. That's all I can do from here on out. I ended up that night, I ended up going to, like I said, my MMA gym, and I got to see my students, and my cousin showed up because he was back to training because he's got a wedding coming up in like 100 days. So his whole concept was he's got to lose weight to get in that tuck. So that turned into something funny, you know, just guys clamoring at the idea of having to fit in a suit. And then one of my other students, Alex, which is my cousin's cousin from his mom's side, came back. He was a police officer in New Mexico, moved down here. He's going to be hopefully an officer in the area now since he's moved down. And he was just talking to us about, you know, I kind of like grilled him on tell me about your craziest situations while being a cop, while you've been up there, and what are your wilds. And yeah, man, the guy fucking was dropping all of this like hardcore like shit that's happened to him since he started. And, you know, just hearing other people's lives, it just makes me feel better just to be in camaraderie with my friends and just to be able to talk to people. I think that makes me feel better when I'm around people. So, and then not only that, this weekend we have another event that we're coming up to. It's a small event, small gathering, United Collectors Expo. I think being able to see all of our, you know, con friends and get back to what we're normally usually doing on the weekends will probably make me feel a lot better. I think everybody can feel it where during the winter time, it gets kind of like slow. You know, everybody gets pretty much isolated in their homes. It's almost like a hibernating situation where you're kind of
hibernating. What are you guys hibernating from? It's like fucking 60, 70 degrees in your winter.
Well, I mean, it's the way we are down here.
Oh,
yeah, it's like Alaska to us. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, God.
No, but it's that aspect of just be like where everybody's just more indoors. They don't really want to be outdoors. So having that opportunity again, I think with the way the COVID situation kind of affected us a lot is a lot of people kind of are craving that social desire more than anything. So when we start to feel that isolation become present, we want to fight against it and try to get out as much as we can. That's what I think. I think mentally, I don't think we ever want to be in that situation where we're back to the COVID style lifestyle about being locked in our houses and whatnot. Yeah. So tomorrow we got a really nice event, and then I have another one at night, and I'm really excited to get out to. And yeah, I'm really excited for this weekend. Kind of a little bit better, feeling a lot more better out of the rut. So yeah, I feel nice.
When I come out there, dude, I'm gonna make sure it's gonna be on a weekend where you guys are going to like a con or something like that.
Most def, dude, because we got to get you out of fun. Got to get both you and me out there and doing some crazy shit.
I would love that. That would be dope.
That'd be super, super cool. As a matter of fact, April is gonna be the next biggest convention that we have.
What's that one?
That one's South Texas Comic Con.
That's a big one, I'm assuming.
That's like one of the top ones in Texas, like top 10 in Texas. And my boy Ramsey Ramirez is one of the guy that he's the main owner of the whole show.
Okay.
So yeah, man, it'd be really, really cool if you came down in April. I mean, that'd be rad. Or there we go. Look, Elizabeth, like I said, she's from San Antonio.
Okay.
Riverwalk Convention.
That'd be awesome. Nice. Awesome.
I mean, the thing is like there's so many great conventions around the state of Texas.
Yeah.
And Texas is always like a homely place when it comes to conventions. Like they're always.
Really I've noticed that you guys have a lot of conventions.
Yeah.
A lot.
And we have a lot of culture. What's cool is like we have a lot of environmental culture. So like there's a lot of like environments that you can kind of experience, you know, trails and ranches and, you know, a lot of like, you know, what makes Texas, Texas, I guess. Like, yeah, just like every other state, we have, you know, violence and all this other shit. But like, if I'm not mistaken, Corpus Christi is deemed one of the most violent cities in the entire state of Texas, or in any state in the United States. It's deemed one of the most violent, and it's like 2 hours away, and it's like a chill place. Like, it's just super nice. So is Houston, you know what I mean? And I got people that live in Houston and they love the place. I think it's just one of those things that, just like any hood, you know where not to go. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just know what street to not go down.
To not go down, yeah.
And then the more you stay away from there, the more opportunities you have to just, you know, live a normal life. But yeah, that's the way I kind of see it. True. But yeah, we got some interesting stuff that we're going to be talking about today. But I want to say thank you guys for listening to me talk about my craziness and the depth of my mind when it gets a little dark. I have to appreciate all you guys, and thank you to everybody who reached out to me yesterday. But Brian, what kind of cool stuff do we got to talk about today?
Got a bunch of, I mean, honestly, for it being a slow week, we actually kind of scrapped some things together. Where do you want to start? I mean, listen, we can start with the Shazam trailer. If you want, we can knock that. Cool. We can knock that out. I mean, we don't get much Warner Brothers DC stuff to talk about. So like, and oddly enough, I haven't been seeing a lot of people like even react or review this trailer. You know what? Like, have you got a chance to see it?
I skimmed through it real quick, but I didn't really get a chance to really like appreciate it.
See, why is that? Why aren't we paying this more attention? Is it because we know this is not going anywhere? Like, they're not doing anything with this character after this movie, so why should we be invested? And this was one of the problems that James Gunn was going to face by saying that the Snyderverse was dead, is because now, and starting to fire everybody, because now you're running the risk of people not actually giving a shit about your movies that you have slated coming up, which is not smart from a business perspective.
I mean, it's not a good thing. I mean, that's for sure. It's definitely not a good thing. But
we're doing this? We're watching it?
Yeah, man, I'll totally check it out.
All right.
I don't know if anybody's seen it or had the opportunity. I think I'm not the only one. But I think in the opportunity of everything is like what they did very well with Shazam is they disconnected it fairly well. The only thing that wasn't disconnected is the fact that they showed the Superman costume at the end of episode or the first film. Other than that, like them acknowledging that there's like a Batman and a Superman and a Wonder Woman, like that can be done in any universe, and you can kind of rim that off if it's just toys or things in the back. But being that they showed like Henry Cavill's Superman costume, it's a little bit harder to disprove that it's not a part of the universe. But to me, it's one of those things like they've kind of had it very separated very well. Like, I think there's still an opportunity for this character, Zachary Levi, to be involved still with the new Justice League universe.
Yo, isn't it now weird that he's very excited about the future of Shazam, but he might not stay around.
Like, yeah, he's kind of like, I feel like he's on the sword. Like, he's on the edge of the sword where there's a possibility they do keep him, but there's a bigger possibility they don't.
I would just rather just shut the F up at that point.
Yeah, I wouldn't like, hey man,
I'm not gonna be sitting here like caping for my man James Gunn. Yeah, I'm over here caping for my man James Gunn, and all the while he's thinking about firing me and shit. So yeah, that's a rough situation.
Let's see what we got going on.
Go ahead.
Ready and play. Can you guys hear it?
I can hear it.
Lucy Liu looking amazing.
We are at war.
That other lady, I forget her name, but she's always so beautiful, man.
Champions of this realm can do nothing to stop us.
You are very menacing. I just want you to know that.
Okay.
A lot has changed in the last few years. The wizard gave me superpowers.
Fuck, I love that scene so much, dude. Such a badass scene.
All right, here's the situation. Started from the bottom, now the whole team here. The Daughters of Atlas are coming to.
Daughters of Atlas. So this deals with like the
power of
Titans. Apple.
Ripped it from our father's core.
Okay, I feel like maybe I should be writing all this down.
Give us the powers, child.
Your world will not survive this.
Shit. That dragon looks wild as fuck. It looks good.
Just a fucking dragon out of nowhere.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, that just looks cool. I guess that's cool. Like, I've always wanted. Who's that? I don't even know who that was.
We have one job to do. Save the world. Billy!
I don't know how we fight powers like this.
I
That's
can't do
my
this. Take my powers back. You gave them to me, so you can take them back, right?
I spent millennia
Oh, wow.
searching for worthy.
I love that actor guy. He's so good at his stuff whenever he plays, like, the epic roles of, like, being some type of mentor.
Yeah.
He's always so good at this stuff.
Billy, what are you doing? I have to do this.
We end this now.
Yeah, we do.
Hey, unicorn?
Started from the bottom, now the whole team here.
Taurus. Humble. Yes. You know what's a little awkward about this movie?
Well, what's that?
At the ending of the first movie, right? They gave this like the attention to that worm character. Do you remember that shit in the prison?
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if this is going to have any correlation to that character. Like, if it's going to be where they're going to enforce the idea. Because they built that guy up at the end for no reason. Because if you really, really think about it, they bring in, I forgot his name, the little worm, right?
Yeah. What about that trailer? Are you interested to see this movie at all?
I mean, comparing it to the first movie, it looks a little bit more silly. Like, and then again, like, there's not enough. Like, they don't show enough of the DC universe for me to be really invested in this. Like, I guess that's it. Because it's just, to me, it just looks like a superhero movie beating up dragons and mystical creatures and just two villains. And so, you know what it reminds me of? Reminds me of a Power Ranger movie.
All right. I'm going to be honest with you. Depending on how much of this movie they just showed in that trailer, because that was a pretty long trailer and they showed a lot of stuff in it. If they're still hiding some things and it's a lot longer with the story that I think they're telling here, that trailer was pretty good.
Yeah, but they have to give more.
They can't give more. They gave a lot. They gave a lot in that trailer. That they gave. I
don't mean give more in a trailer. Like, I mean, the movie has to give us more because right now, that literally just gives us the entire cast of the movie and the entire.
That movie looks low key good. Like, it looks like it's probably going to be better than 90% of the DC movies we've gotten so far.
That's what Shazam 1.
That looks good.
Shazam 1 did really well. And
I'm a fan. That's what I'm saying. Maybe I'm a little biased because I am a fan of the first movie, but that movie looks good, bro. That movie looks really good.
I'm totally right there with you. I think
if I'm basing it off of that trailer, I want to see that movie. It doesn't make me not want to see that movie.
But tell me, like, do you feel like the reason why, or as a DC fan, do you feel like that feels like a DC movie?
The first one didn't seem like a DC movie.
No, but it did.
The first one was more on like a Marvel wave. If I'm being
like the fun base
exactly. That was more of a Marvel movie than a DC movie. So not only did it extract itself from the main DC universe because it didn't feel like it belonged in there at all. It kind of felt like it could have been a Marvel movie. So I'm already in that frame of mind that this movie isn't gonna be your normal DC movie.
Standard movie. Right? Like,
it looks good.
Not take itself too serious. It's not going to be too
and that's what I love about the first movie. So if you're going to give me more of that, and I can visibly see that through the trailer, I'm going to be in. I'll see it.
It's super weird because I feel like the first movie, understanding.
I didn't give it a chance. I didn't even watch that first movie in the movie theaters. I didn't see it until it came out on like HBO. Yeah, until it started streaming.
And it was good.
And I was like, holy shit! Like I was sleeping on this movie. Yeah. It was good.
It was really, really good. But you know what? Like, it did very well on explaining who Captain Marvel, because that's who he was at the time. Shazam's character was. Like, it's Billy Batson, and he's a fun character. Like, he's always doing like really witty, and it almost feels like the old 1950s kind of dialogue. He always feels like a Rin Tin Tin kind of superhero, right? Like just witty, funny, old school feel.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like Zachary Levi understands that as an actor, that's what they want to portray as a character. Like he's funny, he's witty, he's a little bit like out. He doesn't take himself too serious. But like just the exterior vibe from him as a character to what we're watching, like that movie just seems very Black Adam-ish. Like they're throwing a bunch of things in there that are just what you expect to see in a superhero story. I think the dragon looks cool as fuck. Like you never seen Superman fight a fucking dragon.
I was gonna say that's very just out of nowhere.
That's super out of nowhere. But like the two supervillain ladies, like they're both great actresses. Nothing against them.
Mm-hmm.
But like that's so like Rita Repulsa typical. Like these two characters come out of nowhere. They got a staff of power, and I want your energy. And
okay, but look
like,
at the first.
Right?
Okay, so but all right. So if you want to go there, then what about the first movie? The first movie, the villain was very villainy as well. Like very. He was the same way. It's this is going to be the exact same movie. That's the reason why, like, I'm not gonna vibe with you liking the first movie and not seeing that trailer and thinking that this movie is going to be dope.
No. I feel like it's the
same movie. It's going to be the exact same movie.
He's like 10,000 years. I'm free. Repulsive shit. I wanted to like I wanted to expand that whole culture because when it comes to Shazam in the comic books, he has like these different realms that each one of the characters protects. And like, you know, there's that was the whole thing about Black Adam. Like he protects Kahndaq and he's part of the Shazam family, except he has this really cool knack of being an anti-hero / villain because he's like, well, I'm protecting Kahndaq or whatever, but fuck you all. Like, I don't give a shit about your place. Just don't fuck with my place. Like, but he doesn't correlate to help everybody. But there's stories where Black Adam joins the Justice League and he literally sacrifices himself to save like a Batman character or a Wonder Woman character because he knows for the greater good to save not only Kahndaq, but the entire world. He has to be that sacrifice. You know what I mean? So there's such depth in the writing of his character that makes it super well. Like what I want to see some depth. The comedy that this movie brings is always really fun. That's what
you want to see. You want to see depth in a Shazam movie.
Yes, I think they need to. And they can't make another silly movie.
Do you hear how nuts that sounds to me? Like that's not what you're gonna get. That's not what you're gonna get in this movie.
They need depth. And
no, honestly, I'm. What am I talking about? That actually looks like they're like trying to act in that movie.
Yeah, this one. I mean, from what it looks like, there's a lot of.
They look like they're trying to act in that
trauma
movie.
That's going on.
So they may actually even give that to you. Like that there may be depth in this movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of hoping for because you bring in the lady that they're bringing in as the main villain, and that lady for the past like 5 years has only done like Oscar award winning films, and I don't think she's gonna triple back to do like just a silly Rita Repulsa role in a comic book film. I think they have to give it to where it has some real meaningful depth. And then in the first movie, the first, did you hear me, dude? They said the first movie.
Yeah.
They really did a deep dive into like the sins as villains, like the 7 sins or what was it? Those the 7 demons. They really established that, and they kind of built up this like the mystics behind it. So like I just want to see where they're gonna go with this. Like from what we're looking at, these two characters is they're called the Daughters of Atlas. The one lady in the middle of the trailer yells, "You stole from my friend, my family," and here you are, and she's over here taking their powers, which means I'm guessing she's the daughter of the Atlases, like the Titans in mythology, and she's upset that all of these characters all take powers from the Greek gods. That's where I'm guessing that it's coming from.
I think I heard that too, yeah.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like her vibe is that she wants to collect all the powers of the gods and become like the god.
Yeah.
Like the Greek pantheon god. So yeah, I'm kind of cool. There's like a golden apple. I don't know what that's about. Looks pretty cool. All the characters from the first movie, all the brothers and sisters are coming back. Super excited to see that. It looks fun. I just want to make sure that when we go into it, that it's got a little bit more, because again, it's like you said at the very, very beginning, like, why am I going to invest if this is going to be something that's going to get canceled? You know what I mean? Like, why invest?
I mean, out of all the movies that you can say that about with DC, that's either coming up or has already just released, I wouldn't mind wasting my time on this movie because I like the first one.
Yeah.
Like it works for me personally, so I'll see it. So
to watch it would be fun because I enjoyed the first movie so well.
Exactly.
But to watch it and enjoy it and then be told, cool, well, that was it, guys. Like, and it end like on a cliff note that that there was supposed to be some continuation. I just feel like that would kind of suck, but not in a way that I'm not gonna not go watch it. You know what I mean? I'm more excited to see Shazam, Fury of the Gods than I am for Ant-Man right now. So
really?
Yeah. I mean, because I know Shazam's something to look forward to. Remember, I told you I didn't really enjoy Ant-Man 2 so much. So like I didn't enjoy that one. Ant-Man 1 was okay, but Ant-Man 2 I didn't enjoy.
I don't think I knew that about you. I thought you were.
No, I told you this before. I told you Ant-Man sucked.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Ant-Man sucked. Yeah.
No. I mean, I know that you're not. I'm actually a fan of the first two movies. I don't think they were.
I think I remember you telling me that you were like, yeah, they're good, they're all right.
Yeah, like I don't think they were great, but I don't think they're as hard as a lot of people are blaming, because a lot of people are hard on those two movies. They place them at the very bottom.
You prefer in the sense
the
of
first
like
one, the first Ant-Man was good.
Yeah, I thought it was really good.
The second one did have a little bit of a drop off, but I didn't mind it. You still gave me the elements of what I was looking for. And again, I'm a little biased because I'm a Paul Rudd fan. Like I find him funny. Yeah. So like I'm a fan of his. I'm gonna like the movie. So I didn't mind it.
I think what is it? We got like 2 weeks before Ant-Man Quantumania comes out.
And this one looks really good. I'm sorry.
Oh, I mean, there's a bunch of moving parts to this film.
The reason why I like Paul Rudd is because like Loki, he has like range. Like he could be serious. He could be a serious actor. He could be funny. He just so happens that he could be funny as hell too. So it's like he's a really good actor. And so we're gonna see some of that in this movie.
Straight. So
I'm looking forward to
before we get there, because we're going to be talking about Ant-Man and Quantumania also a little bit later. But yeah, Shazam looks pretty cool, guys. Don't forget, check it out. Check out the trailer. Don't forget to go watch it. We'll be reacting to it and doing all that good stuff when it comes out. Definitely.
Oh yeah, and Shazam. Cocaine Bear. We have to see that. We have to give a movie review. Listen.
Can you imagine how exciting we are for Cocaine Bear and not Avatar 2?
Yo, I was gonna say we are gonna have a segment where we talk about Avatar, and no, spoiler alert, we both have not seen the movie still.
So I haven't seen Avatar 2.
But it's going to be a conversation when we see Cocaine Bear before we see Avatar 2. Yes,
that's gonna be wild. I guarantee. Can you imagine if it's like one of the highest grossing movies ever, Cocaine Bear?
That would be amazing. And now I'm actually just convinced that it's like a personal thing with us and Avatar. That's probably the only reason why we haven't seen that movie. It's on principles now.
Cocaine Bear breaks like $1 billion and defeats all the fucking Marvel movies.
What if they broke $2 billion and just like matched Avatar 2? I would laugh. That would be great.
Dude, what if it like smashes like No Way Home? Like, what does that do for the Marvel universe? Do they like make
cocaine bears,
cocaine werewolf man, or what? Werewolf by night?
I mean, you have to, right?
They just add cocaine to every.
You gotta follow them. You gotta follow the money. So if
they're
there's
gonna be
a
like
market
Kang the
for
Conqueror,
it,
but he's Kang the Cocaine Conqueror, and he's
I would make about
cocaine conquering and shit.
I would make about 10 of those motherfuckers, bro. Like
that's so wild.
10 straight years.
Funny. Okay, so onwards to other news. Staying in the realm of DC, we had some I guess bad news, but I really don't know how to take this because I myself 100% only watched maybe like 0.1% of any of these shows.
Okay.
Teen Titans and Doom Patrol has been canceled from the CW series.
Or it's
the CW, right?
No, that's I guess CW or just Warner. They just dropped it. No, it was HBO Max. Yeah,
so
flat out Warner Brothers.
Did you hear about this or no?
I heard about it vaguely. Yeah.
So what's going on with all this stuff? Do we even know what the reason why behind it?
That's all that I heard is that
ghosts, man.
That's all that I heard is that they just weren't going to renew or bring back those two shows, which is surprising to me because from what I remember when what was it? The DC Studios app. You remember that shit?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. The app. Yeah, it was like
when the app. Exactly. And these were and these were the shows that they pushed to get you to sign up, which ultimately turned into like the HBO Max.
HBO Max,
but it originally came out on that app, and these were the shows that they pushed for you to join. So now to see that they're canceled, that's says a lot. And that's James Gunn. That's James Gunn. Like, yo, these things all have to go. Everything.
And you want to know what's even more wild than that? I heard nothing but good things coming from both of these shows. Like most of the people
James
that
Gunn.
I've talked
So
about this.
James Gunn has been, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but it's been apparent to me that James Gunn is going to passive aggressive his ass through this entire fucking thing, bro. Like,
weird.
He's been nothing but passive aggressive to everyone he's either fired or any show that he's ever fucking just deaded. He's just been very passive aggressive. Like, I'm a huge fan of these fucking shows, but you know, maybe somewhere down the line we'll figure something out. But he's canceling all of them.
Yeah. And it's
Everything,
really
like,
weird because, like I said, like, so I've heard a lot of people praise Doom Patrol. Like, a lot of people praise it as a really great show. There's a lot of character development. And being that it's a show based on a comic book that not a lot of people have, you know, really checked out. He really brought a lot of popularity to the series just based on them writing a great show. And then not only that, all the casting, you know, really great cast of characters, like really great cast of actors that are out there playing the roles. And then you get the Titan show, which is, it had like minor controversies with a lot of people complaining when they race swapped Starfire. That's literally the only, I mean, what other negative did you ever hear about the Titan show or the teen Titans? Nothing really.
Honestly, I haven't heard anything. Like, when it first came out, people said that it was cool, but I haven't heard anybody talking about it since. So yeah. I don't think it was a good show. I'm pretty sure it needed to be canned because no one was watching the shit or talking about it. But still,
but it's really weird because, like, you do remember that, right? You remember when people were like bashing the Starfire situation?
Vaguely. I remember, but that happens with every time there's someone is.
But we're talking about this show went on 4 seasons.
Yeah.
And had a race swapped character that they renewed, and a lot of people complained about, which a lot of people were saying that it was going to fail due to the fact that they race swapped the charter.
It was popular.
It continued on for 4 seasons, which means it had a following.
It had a following. In the beginning, it had, like I said, in the beginning, a lot of people were saying that they both were good, but I haven't heard anything since. So,
because I know that they ended up bringing in like Red Hood, they brought in a Batman character, they brought in like so many different variations in the Titan show. So there was not a lot of people talking anymore about the situation with the Starfire character, which means to me is that she was doing a pretty good job because people weren't literally doing it with the whole rose-colored glasses, seeing it by a person of color being in this role anymore. They were just like, okay, cool, like, but she's doing all right because it wasn't a complaint anymore. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. But
so like,
no.
Is this like, because again, I heard people talking about this show very high. Even people were recommending it to me too. Like, I remember Triggs, as a matter of fact, you know, Triggs back in the day would be like, dude, you need to see Titans. Coming from a comic book person like Trigger, like him telling me like, no, dude, you need to get in there. It's really good. And Red Hood's doing awesome. It tells me that there's people out there that read the comics that are watching this and they're enjoying it. Which means
so did you watch it?
Some type of proper writing. I never got my opportunity to it. I wasn't even a big fan. The only Titan show I've ever been a fan of was a cartoon. Like, I like the cartoons more than just the characters themselves. But then again,
yeah,
it's like,
I wasn't buying another subscription just for those 2 shows. So yeah, I never got
that.
into
it. And then not only that, I have this really weird knack of like jumping into like 2 series at a time. Yeah. So like if I'm enthralled with watching a show like every week, like I'm only gonna do it to like 2 shows. I'm not gonna do it for like 3 or 4. Because that takes too much of my time to put into things needing that I need a schedule or something like that.
Listen, if it came out on Netflix or something, I would have probably watched it and gave it a shot.
If they dropped the whole series, you know what I mean? Like if they were like, here's the whole first season, enjoy, I'd be like, fuck it, let's go.
I would have definitely watched it.
Episode by episode, I'm not about it.
Yeah.
And at that time, like I was just invested in other shows. That's including like My Hero Academia, Attack on Titan, you know, Supernatural. Like I've just been involved in shows, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where like I just dedicate my time to just those shows at a time. You know what I mean? So it wasn't the right time for me. Will I watch it? Maybe. But it just sucks knowing that at least even Vince in the comment section says Titans is good. But then again, maybe it correlates with what you said, where it just doesn't have enough people really talking about it. That the show's like, hey, you know what? Like, let's keep it going. People are just comfortable with it being around. It kind of reminds me of like those Hawaii 5-0 or those cop shows that they show on like ABC, where it's like the NYPD Blues. Like they just keep going on and on and on. But you don't really know how many people really watch that shit anymore. Like,
yeah, but that shit was canon too. I don't think you guys, I don't think anyone is really understanding what James Gunn is trying to tell you guys, either blatantly or just on the low. That all, because that is canon. That is Snyder versus canon, right?
Okay.
He is getting rid of everything that has to do with that. That and even on a Mac or on a micro level, that is still part of the Snyderverse. Yeah, it has to go
during that timeline.
It's got to go, bro. So, and people aren't really watching this shit. So yeah, that's a no brainer as far as James Gunn is concerned. You know?
Yeah, but I think it was a good run for both seasons. Sad to say, if you go on people's Twitters, if you're a fan of the show, a lot of the actors are just, you know, dropping their goodbyes on the show and things like that for that not being renewed. But yeah, apparently Teen Titans and Doom Patrol is finally coming to an end after the 4th season for Teen Titans. And I'm not really sure what Doom Patrol got on the sense of things. I think they were on like their 3rd season or 2nd season. But
probably
yeah,
the 3rd.
Sucks, but it is what it is. Onwards to the next part of the conversation. We got, oh yeah, okay, so here we go. So actually, as a matter of fact, we heard some very, very interesting things coming in. We just mentioned Ant-Man and Quantumania a little while ago. There's some interesting leaks that are coming around right now on the internet, huh?
There's a few. There's a few where I feel like I know the entire movie.
Do you feel like it's like just like like legit straight up like it's been spoiled? I know that I heard last week that someone had an opportunity to release the script online. Did you hear about that or no?
I did.
And then it came out that it wasn't the script technically.
It was, yeah, it wasn't a script. It was
the translation.
The translation.
It was one of the translation versions, which that motherfucker's going to get fired. Like you watch, that motherfucker's going to get fired so fast. If it's like a Mexican script or if it's like a French script, like there's only a couple motherfuckers that had opportunities to get that script. So whoever scripted that shit, like they're going to get fired so fast. But apparently through the translations and all this other stuff, they've broken down a tremendous amount of the movie, talking about how Kang's going to be the implements of Kang, and how there's even talks about Spider-Man, like a Spider-Man cameo, and like there's a bunch of crazy shit I heard this past week. So what have you heard without getting into like super, super detailed shit? Like,
no, I think it's very interesting. I haven't heard the Spider-Man thing. That's news to me. And yeah, I won't even really get too spoilery. I just know that from just the things that I've been reading into, everything seems interesting in the fact that the way that they're building everything up and how everything is going to be just joined at the hip in one way or another, they could really knock phases 5 and 6 out the park. I think like it's like on a T for Kevin Feige, and I don't think that that's by mistake. I think all of it, he was even willing to put out a lackluster phase 4 if it meant that he can get this. Like,
okay,
what I'm hearing, how about like just Kang is involved with the Eternals, involved with even Wanda being in the mix, and it all being relevant to each other. It sounds pretty fucking dope.
It sounds wild. Like earlier, literally was the first time actually from you that the whole like Wanda and the magic and all that stuff was going to correlate with Kang. And I wanted to kind of get you to elaborate more on how you feel or what you heard is going to be like the ongoing factor. Cause I haven't even heard that.
Again, I don't want to really spoil anything and again, it's not anything that is in stone, but it makes sense. It makes sense that, you know, the Darkhold has been around for a very long time, and Kang knows a lot of shit. So it's not far from the realm that he's heard the prophecy that the Scarlet Witch is to rule the multiverse.
Okay.
That's a conflict of interest because Kang is trying to rule the multiverse. That's a conflict of interest for Kang. So he's going to have to address that. He's a guy that's able to go in time to put things in place to keep people in certain situations. So like I don't think it's far-fetched that he is aware that there's a Scarlet Witch out there and that he may have to run into her at some point. But that's like on the back burner. So it's like things like that I've been reading or that I've been hearing. It's pretty, and I think that's pretty cool.
You know what? It's very interesting because I heard that what was it? That Kang, that what they're gonna do is that one of the writers recently came out and did like a podcast show where he was like dropping a bunch of knowledge. Yeah. And he's one of the guys that was writing for the Rick and Morty team. And they hired him on for Ant-Man and Quantumania because apparently like the guys who do Rick and Morty do time traveling very fucking well. Mm-hmm. Because of the fact that if you look at the way Rick and Morty is written as a television show, there's so much time dispensing and multiverse and all this stuff that they kind of make it to where they could still at least keep some kind of like middle ground as to where it's all going. Mm. And I heard that this guy was like, yeah, we've been doing a lot of research. Like I've been doing backwards and forwards. Like I've indulged a lot because we're really going to pull from the comics, like on the way this character is like, so we're really like deep diving into the comic books, but in difference is that you have to remember, and he breaks it down exactly the way I kind of feel like it needs to be said, which is he says, look, there is a difference between the movies and the comic books. You have to look at the films like it's a multiverse because yes, they do pull from story arcs and all this other stuff, but it is not the same universe. Those stories in the comic books are those stories in those universes where the films are their own universe. Yes, they correlate and have the same type of ideals and they kind of go in the same path, but there's major differences because we get that opportunity to allow that to happen because there are variations of those stories. And I was like, okay, cool, bet. Like that's someone in a seat of power telling you, hey, look, we understand there's a multiverse and the comic books are one and the movies are another. And that's why they're not technically straight with the comic books. So if you're a comic book fan, don't freak out. It's a little different, but it correlates in the multiverse. Like that's pretty good for someone to lay that out there. That's someone just admitting like, hey, you know what? We can fuck around with it because we can, but you don't have to be upset because your universe still stays. I think a lot of people got upset with the whole like the 616 in the Doctor Strange and Kevin Feige and him really not really like I think just not understanding the importance of that nature in the comic book and film world. Like kind of like breaking this guy respects that and then says the way we're writing Kang is like, yes, we're going to go with Immortus. Yes, we're going to go with the Crimson Warrior, or that one guy, the Crimson Supreme, or some dude that he also portrays. Yeah. He's like, we're going to do all of these characters. And yes, we're going to go back in time and stuff. And he goes, but what we're going to do is we're going to elaborate more in our ways on what Kang's true intention, his power, and where his powers come from. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, what you have to understand is Kang is a man in time and out of time. But what he does is he controls time. The multiverse made it difficult. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Okay. So like Kang himself as a character, if you go back even in the comic books, all he does is fuck around with time. And what he did was he would come back to make things in order so that it helps him enjoy and conquer in the future. You know, then later on, they established there was a multiverse in the comic books. And then they had all of these like different variations of Kangs throughout different multiversal Kangs, which I believe it convoluted the storyline. This goes back to what I talk about in personal life, where I think when movies and comics and all that stuff establish time travel and multiverse, I think it's very cheap for the writing. But I think since that opinion is there, it gives you the opportunity to elaborate on stories that could help the audience understand time travel and multiverse in a really weird way, like in a great way when it comes to stories, because we just haven't been told great stories in those nature. So like with Kang, let's say,
what's your favorite version? What's your favorite version of Kang?
Nathaniel Richards, Iron Lad. When he ended up becoming the hero, I think that was a great story because in his own nature, he
But
ended
it's
up
tragic
becoming his
though.
worst
Yeah,
villain.
yeah, he's fucking tragic though, because he ends up
Yeah.
becoming the motherfucker anyway.
And it's cool. It's very like Shakespearean, right? Like it's
Yeah.
very like there's like a story to it that makes it to where it's like it transcends just a normal comic book story.
Nah, I'm a Ramatut guy. Oh, he was ready. He's with the
Ramato was
shits.
bad
He's with the
motherfucker, man.
shits. Yeah, he's with the shits.
Yeah, it was good.
Him
But,
going
like,
heads
it's-
up with Apocalypse was fucking dope.
Straight, yeah. No. That's a yeah. No shit. Yeah, fuck. He did do that. I totally forgot about that. But then again, that's really cool because then it correlates really well to like all the other establishing characters. And what's cool is like if we look at Kang as a time character that controls time at its essence, there being a multiverse then gives him turmoil because that's what's going to fuck him over. Because then you have another opportunity where someone else of the same nature can come in and fuck you, rather than it be you're just the master of time on that timeline. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like when it was him by himself running time like a menace, he was fucking setting it up so badass. He was going backwards and forwards, putting money in places where he needed to go, you know, making things happen to where he became the conqueror of that universe. But the moment another Kang from a multiverse came in, fucking wrench right in the fucking middle of his plan. And then it became them fighting over each other to become the multiversal leader. And I think out of that situation birthed this Kang that got trapped in the quantum realm. Right? Am I getting kind of close to it?
Close enough. I honestly just feel that even though Phase 4 is somewhat viewed as lackluster, I think that in retrospect, we'll have better respect for it later. Because they're planting seeds. They're planting seeds that are going to come to fruition in 5 and 6, and I think it's been overlooked just because we were in a funk or we just wanted to hate on Marvel for certain shit. So I don't know. This all to me, I'm excited. I'm not jumping off the bandwagon just yet.
You know what I'm waiting for?
What's up?
I'm waiting for those flashback moments when we see that Kang was everywhere in the first 10 years.
Yeah.
He was there working at Stark Industries when Tony Stark's father is looking to make Iron Man equipment and the blasters and all that shit and make that new element that he found out in Iron Man 2. You know, all the way back when Pym was trying to create particles and he was Jonathan Majors is in the background as a scientist. You know, Captain America getting unfrozen out of the ice where he was one of the fucking SHIELD agents telling people where they were. You know, I'm kind of hoping that it all fucking comes to fruition, that it was him all along. That was kind of like in the background of every little thing that happened. Even the fact of like where we get a flashback of Tony Stark punching fucking Thanos and cutting him. And then Thanos is like, I know who you are, Stark. You're a man, another one riddled by science. And then it be where it's a flashback of Kang talking to Thanos on his throne. Like it's just Thanos on the throne and Kang standing in front of him with his hands behind his back. And it's him explaining to him that he's going to have to do all of this. And this is how his timeline goes, but it'll pay off later if he allows them to beat him. Like, you know what I mean? Like he'll please Thanos's, he'll please him with reward if he allows like the Avengers to bleep him out of existence later.
I don't know how much flashbacks we're gonna get like that because they have so much they have to take care of. Like but they have incursions, they have a lot on their plate. They need to just worry about getting that, like landing that, like all of the things that they're promising, like the incursions and Kang Dynasty, and you know a second multiversal Kang War, and then Secret Wars, and then this is gonna be fucking insane. So they need to just focus on moving forward.
Because my thing is, how you have a small amount.
They're gonna do it, yo.
Like you have a small amount of time to make everybody believe that Kang is that villain, bigger than Thanos at the end of Endgame. Like, but all we have right now is the guy at the end of the time in Loki. And then you have the Kang that's shown up in Quantumania's trailers, getting in a fist fight with Kang and getting a fist fight with Ant-Man and bleeding and having a little bit of troubles, showing off a little bit of muscle, getting cut and stuff. Which I mean, that's gonna be just a fucking fall through. You watch, he's gonna just tank his ass. Yeah, he's gonna beat his ass, but it's gonna be a fight. It's gonna be a fight.
That is where the money pays off. This is where you look like a genius in spending the money and getting Jonathan Majors at the height of his career to play King.
Yeah.
That was whoever decision that was is a fucking genius. Because now you have him locked in, who honestly to me, and again, I've been a fan of his before this, like way before this. And that was a great pickup. I don't think people understand how great of a pickup that is. That kid is good. He's really good.
Solid, man. He's a hell of an actor.
So he's gonna give you your money's worth just in that alone. So when you say you don't think they have enough time to make that happen,
Majors. This has to deal with, like,
I think that
writers.
I'm just saying though, if you are going to put your writers and your directors to the test and knock this out in a short amount of time, having everything revolve around
that magnitude,
a guy like that is a smart thing to do.
That's a really, really smart move. Yeah, because I think it goes on the fact that of how many people he has to play, because he's gonna have to portray a bunch of variations of this character.
You're building a whole phase around him.
Yep.
So yeah, he's gonna be fucking everywhere. He's gonna be at the center of every movie, every show, in some way or another. Like, it's gonna be wild. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm excited. I'm not off the bandwagon just yet, bro. No, they're gonna have to prove to me that they can't do this shit anymore. But yeah, I will be the first one to acknowledge it. But until then, dude, I'm still riding, bro.
Yeah, because for me, Phase 4 was a real big flop. Like, the majority of Phase 4 with, like, maybe minus.
I look at it like this. Like, take your favorite band, right? Take your favorite fucking band. Mm-hmm. They're gonna put out a fucking dud here or there, bro. They're gonna put one out. It doesn't negate the fact that they're still a great band. They just put out an album that was just all right. You feel me? And I think that's what that was. And in retrospect, I do think it's going to age well. Again, I think that the things that were established in Phase 4 are going to play big in the future. And so I think it'll age a lot better.
Well, from what I've heard, Phase 4, it was Kevin Feige trying to establish all these new characters and just get them out there quick. So, like, that's why a lot of it felt kind of rushed, or like it just kind of like felt like they had already been in the universe, but just never explained, because they're trying to fill the rosters for when they do Secret Wars. Like, they're trying to make sure that we have enough people to put in there. And so if we don't get any of, like, the 10-year actors from before to want to come back for Secret Wars, we at least still have these guys. So they have that opportunity to be like, okay, we got choices to make. But my thing is, one, what's the depth of timeline that all of this happens in the universe? Because of course,
it's like 4 years, right?
It'd be crazy if it was like
5 years.
Like, the Ant-Man movie happens and then he comes out and Kang Dynasty just automatically starts.
When does Kang Dynasty come out, or say that it's supposed to come out?
It's like 2035, 2036 in their universe. I want to say, like, in their years when it comes to it. I think the Endgame movie came out in 32 or 33. So, like, it all kind of spans in like a 4-year thing.
So right now it's slated. It's probably going to get moved, but right now it's slated for May the 2nd, 2025.
2025. I was thinking of the year in the film.
For the movie. I don't know. I'm talking about, like, how long do they have to physically put out this movie? And it's May 2nd, 2025. That gives them, what, 3 years? A little bit more than 3 years?
Yeah. No, but what I'm saying
2 years.
Is, can you imagine?
2 years. I think they could pull this off in 2 years.
I think there's so much opportunity to make some super crazy, like, moves to be like, okay, cool. Like, Ant-Man goes in, they're showing the universe. It's a pretty normal place from what we've been comfortable with after Endgame. You know, how the world has been kind of collaborating and working together again. Everyone's kind of coming to terms. Ant-Man Quantumania happens. And the moment he comes out, they're like 4 years in the past, but Kang took over, and it's a world dedicated to Kang.
I've given up trying to keep track of time
travel stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say, even like trying to keep. I'll let the people that are reviewing the movies keep tabs, and I'll learn that way. Like, there's no way I'm gonna remember what year we're in, where we're going. Like, we're going into like quantum realm, bro. Like there's
Yeah,
no
it's
time.
gonna get fucking. I think it's gonna get crazy, and
We
there's a
have
possibility of it getting a
fucking
little messy.
incursions coming. Like I don't think the date's gonna play a big part. Like I don't think we're gonna be reminded often where we are in time. I don't see that happening.
I was even thinking this was literally the other day, and I was like, can you imagine at the ending of the Kang Dynasty film, before Secret Wars? Let's say they do bring in the Beyonders, and Kang's not the main villain. Like they bring in something that's just astronomically wild. But at the end of Dynasty Wars, the Avengers or whoever's the heroes at the time consolidate it, make it work, and the 4-year blip never happened. Like they end up saving time so far back that all of the people that got erased and all the trauma and all the time displaced people that were older when they were supposed to be younger, everything goes back to that moment and everything's back to normal. That would be insane because then everybody just forgets that Thanos came by.
But then that still creates, the way that they have it set up in the MCU, that would just create a different time branch. Like there's no stopping the time. Like that's the one thing, you can't stop the time. It's just going to create a different time branch.
But
it
MCU. All goes back to that one sentence that Jonathan Major says, I can give you the one thing you lost, time. And he's basing it off of the idea that he's like, oh, look, I can give you all the time you lost with your daughter. You can have all of that back. I can take you all the way back to that time, not where I have to change the world and everybody remembers, but I can take you back to that timeline and fix the world. So do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's weird,
I
right?
just thought about something that I was thinking about earlier. Do you remember when, like at the end, I think it was maybe Ant-Man 2 or whichever. Yeah, I think it was at the end of Ant-Man when Paul Rudd was about to go into the quantum realm, and
the family gets
Michelle Pfeiffer says, "Don't get caught in a wormhole because we won't be able to save you. We won't be able to find you." Do you think, now this is me putting my tinfoil hat, do you think she said that because she knows what's at the end of that wormhole, which is Chronopolis and Kang? And I'm not going down there to help you because motherfucker, I just left there and I'm not going back down there. Do you think that's why she said that? Because obviously they can go into the quantum realm and go after him after a wormhole. Like, well, that's it all ends in one place.
That correlates to what Tony Stark figured out. Like he started using wormholes as the time traveling mechanism, right?
Yeah.
Like to be able to displace yourself. That's what they all flew through, and that was that concept because. I'm guessing in the fact that she didn't realize, or maybe they just wrote it wrong for that moment, that she says, don't fall into that place because we will not be able to find you. But they created some type of beacon. The dad at the moment, Hank Pym, created that beacon to find his wife. Remember, he found the blip.
No, they found her.
Finally communicate.
They went in there. They basically went into the center of the fucking quantum realm.
Well, I think when that gets established,
picked up Janet, so obviously they can go in there and get him. I think she said that because I can't go back in there and get you.
Yeah,
like personally,
I think more in the fact that she doesn't want to go back to that because she knows the more they mess with it, the more opportunity Kang's gonna get.
Kang's gonna get out. Yeah.
Because then if you look back at the trailers of this movie, the daughter is fucking with that beacon shit and she's like evolving it. And she's like, oh, I'm talking to someone. And we all assume that it's Kang that's like, oh, you should do this. Oh, you should do that. Like, oh, you should. And that it's Kang trying to create that beacon so he can find a way out of that spot. Like, I think that's 100% correct. I think you're onto something. It's not no tinfoil hat. That's an easy. Yeah,
setup. I thought it was bugging there. Like, I haven't heard that from any like content creator, but I was thinking about that. Like when she said, don't go in there because we won't be able to come get you. Yeah. I'm thinking, well, yes, you could have, because I've seen it done multiple times now.
Fucking did the whole goddamn thing.
Yeah. And they went, and not only that, but they went in there and got you as well. Like they went into the quantum and got you.
And not only that, the evolution to where they went in her and they pulled her out of it.
That's what I'm saying. They went and got her.
The evolution of that, like you look at Endgame and the technology's already far greater just because Tony Stark figured it out. It wasn't just Hank Pym by himself. So like, where Hank Pym had to have like a weird ass spacesuit and had to get in like a weird ass vehicle, Tony Stark made it to where it was just a big ass fucking teleporter and everybody just had a suit that they could just fucking fly. And then not only that, they could go back into the timeline from any location if they had the suit and the watch. Like that technology had already been like way more established when Tony Stark got it.
Mhm.
Which, again, if they create flashbacks, shows that Kang had to go back in time and make sure that the Starks were established in technology so that he knows that eventually through that timeline, Tony Stark would figure out time travel, which then, of course, correlates to Kang getting time travel in his century.
Yeah.
It's fucking, I'm telling you, man, if they don't do those flashbacks to do like the fucking Ocean's 11 where you get the weird zoom in and it's fucking Jonathan Majors in the back in a trench coat, like writing shit down on a piece. If you don't do that, like there's so many missed opportunities. Like the Ocean 11 zoom ins, because it's like you could literally put like,
I'm sure we'll get it. I'm
like
sure.
how did Red Skull know to find the fucking time gem or whatever in that weird German base in the beginning of Captain America 1?
I think
If
we're
not,
gonna
Jonathan
get.
Majors was in the back being a scientist.
I do think Red Skull is coming off that damn mountain.
Dude, oh man, that to
He's
me is
he's coming
probably
off that
one of the
mountain,
most
yo.
like unused characters in the comic books to me.
For Secret Wars, he's definitely going to be involved, 1000%.
Well, I need him.
And I don't know anything for
Even
sure,
in the
but
New World Order
you
movie,
have
I would
to.
love to see him back. I would love to see him back in the New World Order. I mean, the movie. The reason why is because him and Baron Zemo in the comic books have a dynamically different thought of what the Hydra people are supposed to be. Like it's dynamically different. Like it's so crazy, but it's funny too. Like when you break them down in both characters and both of them being some weird ass German Nazi dudes, you know, arguing amongst each other. Sometimes it's funny to laugh at those kind of guys. So that would be really cool to have back. That'd be really, really cool to have back. But yeah, what other kind of leaks have you? Okay, so the other weird ass leak that I heard, and this is just shot in the dark, is apparently Tom Holland had been seen in the Marvel Studios doing some type of like pickup shots. Now, Tom Holland hasn't been in anything recently. Last thing Tom Holland was in film wise was what? No Way Home or whatever, or Endgame. But like he really hasn't. Yeah, he hasn't been in anything. So what would he be doing there other than being in some type of like multiverse or some type of like other reality or a flashback with Ant-Man? Because apparently from what I've heard is the story of the Quantumania series was supposed to be Marvel's version of Spider-Man's Spider-Verse. Where like that whole entire, like the way they're that planet that they're on in the Chronolopolis or whatever, like how it has holes and gaps, that was also supposed to be like the Spider-Verse. This is just kind of like a shot in the dark from what I'm hearing, but yeah, apparently Tom Holland has been seen around there, and they're talking about how he's supposed to be making some type of cameo in Ant-Man and Quantumania. I think it's a little too far-fetched.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, that's the same thing as like I kind of feel like it's the same vibes as Tony Stark in Doctor Strange 2. I kind of feel like it kind of correlates like in that same aspect. But yeah, other than that, I mean, of course the MODOK stuff, a lot of people are, you know, still shitting on the way his character looks. Yeah, other than that, I really haven't heard much, but I'm pretty excited for Quantumania. I mean, it seems like it's going to be a wild ride, if anything, more than anything. So, yeah, that's about it for me in Quantumania. What about you? How do you feel about it?
I told you switch up your answers like nothing. Now it's something you want to watch. Before you just said you weren't looking forward to it.
No, I said compared
which one
to
is
Shazam.
it? Which one is it?
No, I said compared to Shazam, I feel more intrigued to watch Shazam than I do Quantumania. But Quantumania still looks like a wild ride.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah, you know exactly what I said.
All right, bro. All right, man. All right, bro.
Are you telling me it would be a good movie to not watch?
No, I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited to see both those movies that you basically said you weren't looking forward to see, but somehow are now wanting to see the movies. I'm confused, but I'm just I can't keep track of your where you stand on which side of the fence.
We got a person in YouTube comments. Crack Rock Calhoun, if that's how you say it. I hope I said that correct. He says exactly what I'm thinking. I have no faith in Marvel right now at the moment, but aesthetically, the movie looks fucking epic. That's to me, that is like 100% the point that I have in my mind. Phase 4
Listen,
really
I'm
took
about
the
as
piss out of
biased.
Marvel.
I'm gonna be about as biased as I've ever been, especially with like Thor: Love and Thunder. I am a Jonathan Majors fan. I am a Paul Rudd
Oh, true
fan.
that.
So it's like, regardless, I'm gonna watch the fucking movie.
Brian, I kind of
Like
feel like Rock Calhoun is you, man. He's like Shazam 2 looks fucking sick.
it is. It looks fucking dope.
For me, it kind of looked. I think we were talking about this earlier. Thank you for jumping on the show with us, Rock. For me, it was kind of like it looks good, but it looks very Power Ranger-ish. Outside of like, of course, Zachary Levi as Shazam and the Shazam kids and the characters that we're really looking forward to coming in. All this stuff on the outside looks a little bit wonky, but I think it's going to work because the first movie was good. But we're talking about which one do I look forward to more, Shazam or Ant-Man? And right now, oh, he says it's gonna suck. My bad. He doesn't say it's sick. He says Shazam 2 is gonna fucking suck. My bad, Brian. That is not you. Brian says it looks good, that it's gonna be good. Rock, drop us in the comments and let us know exactly why you think the movie's gonna suck. You can't just hate on it to hate. Like, we want to know exactly why you feel like it's gonna hate. So make sure you drop that and I'll make sure I read it. But yeah, being between those two movies, Brian, I feel that Shazam 2 is gonna have my attention more.
I think you're crazy.
You think I'm crazy as fuck? I know.
I think you're insane for that.
But it's just like I said, it's just like phase 4 really took the piss out of me. Like it really did. And I get what you're saying, where it's like, hey man, sometimes your band doesn't do a good album. But this is a whole fucking phase where it was like a movie after a movie after a movie.
Bro, you're gonna hit a dud. So what, bro? They give bro. They're gonna have a dud sometimes. You can't knock them all out the park. Sometimes singles are just good. You feel me? Like, you're not gonna hit the grand slam every time, bro.
I'm taking the description wrong. So you're looking at phase 4 as the album and the movies as the tracks.
However you want to divide,
because I'm looking at all of them like they're all the fucking album. Every movie that comes out, I'm looking at.
They're on phase 4. They put out 4 phases. 3 of them were good. 1 of them was okay, and now we're moving on. And it looks like the next 2 are gonna be fucking great. So,
well, I mean, I agree with you. I agree with you with that because the higher ups came out and acknowledged that the phase 4 was a little bit less than anticipated, and they're willing to do better. At least they're acknowledging it, right? So that means they are listening to the reviews and the people that are talking about it. They're saying it out loud, and that kind of made me feel a little better. It still makes me feel better. But going on, we are going to talk about super crazy news when it comes to theaters and how the theater world's working right now. Avatar 2 is sitting at number 1 for 6 weeks straight. We are at, how much are we at for this movie? Was it like 2 billion, 3 billion already?
I think it's 2 billion.
2 billion mark. Infinity War, going right, besting Infinity War just days after crossing the 2 billion mark. Mm-hmm. According to Variety, Avatar 2 has grossed a worldwide total of $2.054 billion, narrowly edging out Avengers Infinity War at a 2.025. Yeah. Cameron's long-awaited sequel crossed the 2 billion mark earlier this week, becoming only the 6th film in history to do so. With Avatar 2's latest achievement, Cameron now holds the distinction of having directed 3 of the top 5 highest grossing features ever, and the other being Titanic, 2.187. Damn, man. And the first Avatar movie, which holds first place at 2.922 billion. Now, how much billion was this guy talking about needing that he was going to need to be successful? Did he say 15?
I think he said 3. No, I think he just said he needed 3 billion.
If he's in the teens, that'd be crazy as fuck, wouldn't it?
I think he said 3 billion, but I think the company Disney would have been fine with 2.
Okay. Yeah. That makes
sense. Because don't forget they're saying they're making another 2 after this, or 3 after this.
3.
I don't know however many, but yeah, they're making more of these motherfuckers, bro. So it's like
they're gonna milk the fuck.
They need something. Shit. Yeah, they're gonna need something to have on paper saying, hey, this justifies us making the extra 2 or extra 3. So
now, of course, the one thing to correlate to this is the success of this film and the speed at which it's getting a success at when it comes to like its money making aspect was, of course, the opening up in China. We're talking about how Marvel right now is acknowledging the fact that they need the market in China to open up again so they can make that extra money. So, of course, we kind of guarantee the films are going to correlate more to the rules and the laws that China needs to establish to have films available. But It looks like Avatar 2 is looking to kind of make its money that the guy said he needed to make. I mean, this is just literally in the first year the movie's out. We're not talking about domestic years, coming down the road for it to make the extra billions. So what does it look at? Does it look like the studios are going to be like, whatever you want, James Cameron? You want to film on the Mars? You want to go to space?
We're no longer in that discussion at this point. James Cameron,
he can do whatever the fuck
he
wants
writes
now, right?
he writes his own fucking check. Yeah, dude, like. He's
So
not
can
even
we
getting out of the
safely
bed. He's not getting out of the bed for a movie that won't make at least $1 billion. So,
And can we safely say that this guy,
dude, he has
kind
top.
of-
He's got like top 3 of the top 5, 3 of the top 4
in history,
or some
dude.
shit like that in history.
In history,
Bro,
it's not even like
that is
not
a
one dude
wild,
kind of knocking it out of
bro.
the park. This
That's a
motherfucker's got
wild
5.
stat. That's a
And
wild
his-
stat, bro.
And the first one of these movies is the number 1.
Yeah, that's
So it's not
really,
like he's
really
just on the
wild
top
stat.
10, just sitting there slacking. He's literally like
He's got
the
multiple.
dude. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's the dude. This is the dude. But does this correlate with the idea that like it's possible in the movie industry is out there to kind of make money? It's like you just need to be good at what you do, or like actually take passion, or like
Get the fuck out of here, bro. Yo, they threw
the knee to everything. Or
do you
whatever.
know how much money they spent to make this movie?
No, I don't know.
He's listen just to what he's saying. He's saying I need to make 3 million or 3 billion.
Billion.
I need to make 3 billion just to feel like I made some money off of this. They spent an obscene amount of money to make this fucking movie.
Shit, we gotta see
So
how much is it. I'm gonna look
if you give someone that kind of a budget, I mean, you kind of have to bring back these type of numbers, bro. Like he's having the biggest budgets. Like that's what comes with his name, is that they're gonna give him whatever money that he needs to make whatever movie he's saying he needs to make.
Yo, how much?
That's kind of like cheating, but a little bit. If you get like the unlimited credit.
Okay, how much do you think the budget was?
I mean, not including marketing, I'm pretty sure it was around 3 billion to make this movie.
For the budget. I'm
for
talking
the
about
budget.
like what they spent on the movie.
I think that's what it is. I think the reason why he said 3 million, that could be like close to like them just getting out of water or just breaking even. So like I don't think he was exaggerating when
January
he said
2nd, 2023, Avatar 2 is to believe to had a budget of $460 million.
I don't think so.
Dude, can you imagine
no
that
way.
it'd be that much, but you want to budget
million.
at 3 billion? You want to mark out at like, I need to make like $3 billion just to be able to.
The marketing alone was worth 400 million. Like I don't believe that.
I ain't even slacking that. It says literally, Avatar 2.
Where does it say that?
Claim that the production budget alone was $250 million.
Who's reporting that? Where is he getting
that? Was from
these sources
Variety,
from?
and that was November 21, 2022. On Wikipedia,
Okay.
It says with an established budget of 350 to 460 million, Avatar: The Way of the Water is one of the most expensive films ever made. January 2nd, Avatar 2 is believed to had a budget of $460 million. And that was from Dextero. So it's looking that most of the people that are collaborating in the idea of how much the budget was is ranging anywhere from 250 million to, I'm going to shoot in the dark, about 500 million.
I think it's going to be way more than that. I think it's going to be way more than that.
That's what I would assume.
I just don't see how a movie of this magnitude you can get done under 600 million.
Shit, I'm telling you, man. That's wild though, right? Disney spent a reported 460 million to create and promote the movie, according to Variety. This is literally coming from Time Magazine.
400, that doesn't seem like much. I would, you know what, if that was the case, well, nah, that came with a built-in fandom. I would say I would just start. I mean, if that was the case, and that's all it takes to make something look that beautiful, I would just be giving 400 million to anybody personally, with a little bit of steam, with like a little bit of name. You throw 400 million at them, and they can make something.
I mean,
like that, there'll be a lot of James Camerons running around.
An actual skilled director and knows like the tools of the trade. I mean, you cannot go off and say that James Cameron is cutting corners like for technology. He's busting, dude. He's busting for everything top notch, like busting. So 450 to $500 million is still a fuckload for a movie. It's a fuckload for a movie.
It's a lot.
Yeah, but I mean, it makes sense that this dude who made the first ever Avatar movie using the greatest technology of filmmaking at the time would break $2.1 billion, right? Being that he'd say, yeah, you know what? But for me to break even, I'd have to make like 3 billion, because he's just raising the bar on himself. That's what I think it is. I think he's saying, well, I made 2 billion. Why can't I make 3 billion?
I don't know.
Because it's just the idea of the thought of the evolutionary movement. Like, you know, when he made Avatar 1, he broke 2 billion out of nowhere, being the highest grossing movie ever in history, using the technology.
Maybe I'm bugging. Maybe I'm bugging saying 3 billion because I'm just throwing a number out there. But
no, I think that's right.
I know that's way too high. But I don't see them being able to finance and market and put this movie out less than like $1 billion, dude. Like, I think that's how much, when everything is said and done and all the money is tallied, that's probably going to be around $1 billion that they made to make
And
that
right
movie.
now, as of, I guess today, I mean, just establishing this on just like the whim, the established budget for Avatar 3 is going to be roughly the same, $250 million for the budget starting. So we're not consolidating everything. We're just kind of roughing it out in the middle of nowhere, right? But they're already estimating that it'll be about 200. But then again, if you're making a $250 million movie and you're cutting $2 billion for budget in a world where most movies are only breaking 500 million at the max, maybe 600, 700 million. Like, if you're breaking the billion mark, I mean, you're doing pretty fucking good if you can max it out with 2.
I was gonna say, dude, if your goal is 3 billion just to break even, or whatever the fuck you said, even if you spent $1 billion, like, why would you not spend $1 billion on it if you're gonna guarantee something that is gonna bring back either double or triple your money? Like, that's
because you can pull it off with 250 billion. You don't need to go that far. I guess. I mean, thinking about it, right? Because that's about.
I don't think they spent that. I don't think they spent that little for that movie. But whatever, yo. Again, I just don't believe that.
What would you feel more comfortable with then? Would it make sense if it was like
something like around the 600 million to about $1 billion? I think that seems a little bit better to digest. There's no way. You mean to tell me that a $250 million movie, because of the, like I said, the only thing I could think of is because of the fandom. It's got a built-in fandom that could probably push you to that. But we would have seen that by now.
China plays huge. Population of just China alone is huge.
I guess, man. I guess.
Yeah, like,
all right. So then, how do you explain a fucking Spider-Man No Way Home that made $1 billion and it wasn't released in China?
Well, Spider-Man's a huge household name.
Oh,
huge household name.
Okay.
Like, you're talking about literally the mascot of the Marvel universe.
My only point for bringing that up is that no matter what, we don't, necessarily need China to make $1 billion movie.
No, but
$2 billion movie, probably.
No, but it helps.
$2 billion movie, yeah, probably. That definitely could fucking help.
I was gonna say, but it fucking helps though.
But if you're making these movies for 250 million and you're banging out $1 billion, that's still a crazy fucking.
That's
clip.
A huge fucking event. That's a huge comeback. Your pay is just coming back doubled easy. But in the fact of it, like, 3 billion, I think, is kind of a little bit outside of that. I don't think we're kicking it at 3 billion. I literally don't think we're gonna make it ever. Maybe like in the next like 6-7 years when the economy changes. But I just feel like that's just a little outside of the realm of what's possible of making it. I don't know. That's just me, but maybe the next movie makes 3 billion, maybe, but I don't think this movie's gonna make 3 billion. I think if anything, it gets close to the $2.2 billion. I
don't know.
Yeah, once it kind of comes into the streaming service, it's not even in streaming yet. You can't even stream this bitch yet. It's only in theaters. So like, there's a whole amount of money that these guys are gonna get when it's allowed to be streamed. Like the contracts and all that shit. Maybe they hit 2.2, which ends up beating the #1 movie, which I don't know. I don't think it will. I don't think it'll beat Avatar 1 in the box office numbers. I just don't think it does. But my question to you is, or my statement to you is, does this kind of give us hope that the theaters aren't dead. Like that there's so much more that the theaters can offer now that the world is again opening back up, and now we're back to movies making the $1 billion mark? Or are we still kind of the resonation of that whole vibe of people wanting to be home more, not be in a small environment, trapped for 3 hours, buying fucking popcorn for like $20? Like, are we still
What do you
not?
think? What do you think? Do you think that this is the savior of movies?
I was 100% in the notion that streaming was made and is going to kill off the movie theater. I think this ideal or experience of the movies, I think that's fucking trash. Like, I don't believe there's a thing, because now you can have a fucking 74-inch television in your house and you can watch by yourself. You don't need that shit anymore.
But you know what? I don't want my options. I don't want my movie theaters taken away from me, though. Like, I get what you're saying, and I wholeheartedly believe you. I'm on the
it feels more just. It feels like that's the next evolutionary
train,
step, right?
But I don't want personally, I don't want them to stop, because
do you still feel that culture's alive?
Yeah, and I want it to be alive for me and for my family, for my and for people that
your children and stuff like that. On the
exactly, but yeah, I don't think this was the savior. I think this was like a perfect storm. You had James Cameron with a very high budget and a built-in fandom. That's going to give you
a weird ass fandom, man. 10 years later, and it's still like, we still haven't even seen the movie, and we love.
Don't do that. Don't do that. That's hate. That's hate. Don't hate because they still have their shit. Don't hate right there. And listen, I'm not gonna see the movie either. But I'm not gonna hate on them because that's their shit. So I'm not gonna hate on them. You know what I'm saying?
No, I mean, I'm not hating, but it's just so wild to be like, there's no way I thought they would be this far along so fast.
Yeah, I mean,
that's 100% what's on my mind. Is I'm not dogging the movie. I love the first Avatar movie. Huge fucking fan. And I guarantee when I watch this bitch, I'm probably gonna watch a fuckload of it too, and I'm gonna like it also.
Yeah.
But it's like, again, with what happened with the COVID shit, bringing theaters back, seeing Marvel struggle to break the 8 million, 7 million mark ever since the coronavirus, when it was killing it prior. And then for this guy to come in 10 years later, not talk about shit with his series, fucking drop a submarine and talk about Rolexes and answering his phone for his wife.
What's your favorite James Cameron movie right now on the spot?
Avatar. I just love Avatar. I think it's great.
You love Avatar that much?
Yeah, dude, I thought it was great. I really did. And like the first movie, like I enjoyed I saw that movie so many fucking times. Like not even in theaters. Like I bought the DVD and I'd watch that bitch for months every night. Like,
are you kidding me?
No, I'm not.
It was cool, but
there was just something about it that like that District 9, aliens, sci-fi, whole new world. Like I wasn't much of the whole like of the mopey shit where the romance stuff, but it does play its factor in the film of the story and building the characters. But the way that he was able to instill like the mechanized weapons, the Avatar creatures being that much bigger, and then establishing like how humanity and his character role on how they use them, and then like being able to for the character at the end to evolve into being a part of it based on trauma. Like there was just so much good wholehearted thinking behind all the storytelling aspects. The part that kind of like didn't interest me is when it was like, oh, remember the villain in the first film, the one that got shot in the fucking chest with an arrow that's the size of a damn fucking tree? Oh, he's the villain in this one. And so is this kid. And it's like, what, dude? What the fuck are you talking about? Like, he wasn't banging nobody on fucking Pandora. Like, they weren't having babies up there. He was just doing his shit. But I just haven't given it the chance yet. But that's
the fact that I asked you the question of what your favorite James Cameron movie was, and it wasn't either A, Aliens, B, Terminator, or C, True Lies. It's really affecting me a little bit. Like I'm trying to hold it together.
It kind of feels that Avatar was all three of those movies in one.
Avatar was, and listen, don't make me hate on Avatar, okay? Just shut your mouth. Don't make me do it, because I will shit on that movie, bro. If you really make me do it. Yes. I will.
It's all 3 of those movies in one.
But you gotta put some respect on. No, come on.
Oh, I love all those movies. I mean,
favorite James Cameron movie, and it's Avatar, bro. No way. I would have never thought that. I would have not have thought
I'm a
that.
big sci-fi dude. Like I love the sci-fi aspect.
More than Aliens?
Yeah, because I don't know. It was good, but it wasn't. It doesn't resonate as much as with me in my themes that I like more than the Avatar film.
Oh God. Okay.
I kind of feel like you know what, but when you break all the trilogy down and all the extra movies like Prometheus and all that stuff, the story is richer in Aliens than fucking Avatar is.
Now we're only talking about the movies that he directed. I think he only directed Aliens, the second one.
Yeah, but I mean, as a film by itself, I think Aliens 1 was great, but it needed the entire franchise to build on that history and lore and all that stuff. Where Avatar 1 gives it to you in very just a simple way. Gives it to you enough that you're like, oh, okay, this is what this shit's about. And it was just like I said before, and I'll always say it, it's fucking Fern Gully in live action. Like it's just the movie Fern Gully. And Fern Gully was great. I fucking love Fern Gully. Nothing bad about it. But yeah. Okay. I mean, what about you? What's your favorite film in that situation?
I don't know. It's one of those 3. It's probably Terminator 2, personally.
But why not Terminator 1 if it was the establishing series behind it?
Because everybody knows that Terminator 2 is better than Terminator 1. Sorry.
But in the world of it, it's not established better when it comes to the idea that sequels.
It's not what we're talking about. It's not what we're talking about. That's not the narrative that we've created in this situation.
It's pretty simple. It's just what is your favorite movie? Just
that's it. Yeah.
I think for me, the reason why Avatar did so well was, like I said, like if you break it down, each one of those films has some type of correlation with the establishing story behind Avatar. But Avatar gives you the lure, the story, and the realm all on the first shot. You don't need, like, again, Terminator 2, you needed more lure established in part 2. And not only that, Terminator 1 was a good movie, but I think you're right. Terminator 2 is a better movie because they made it to where they took the villain of the first film and made it to where he's like an antithesis to the hero of the entire franchise. Mm. So then you're like, oh, fuck, like that's the bad guy from the first film. Now he's a good guy. Look at them interact with each other. Whoa, it's so silly. And like, there's just so much more fun to that film.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's literally my take on those actions. Dude. I'm looking for a napkin real quick. Give me a minute real fast. Let me get this real quick. Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead. Go grab yourself a napkin. So who's in the chat, yo? I mean, who's in the comments, man? People aren't even talking right now, man. What have you guys seen this week that you guys want to talk about, if there's anything? Because we're running out of crap. Like this week has been extremely slow.
Oh man, we ain't running out of nothing, man. We got our main topic that we're going to be talking about next, of course. But no, we're not running out of stuff. But all right, straight up, there we go. Again, thank you to everybody that's in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and joining us on this Friday night. Fuck, we're almost at like 15 minutes left. What the hell? What do you mean we're going to be talking about shit?
I'm just saying, like we're running out of things. We're just gonna hit something up really quick.
We're running out of time. Okay, real quick. What did you think of the Last of Us review? What did you think of episode 2 of the Last of Us?
Listen again. I don't want to speak out of turn. Like I don't want to speak, and just don this as the best show on TV. But
episode 2 is
there's not another show out there right now that I would rather watch. Like if I had like a list of shows that just dropped all at the same time on the same day, I'm saying that The Last of Us is probably going to be like
one of your tops?
1 or 2. Yeah, like one or 2 up there. Like and this is a really good show.
I take that as seriousness because I know that you're a fan of the video game. You did play the series and you really went through it. So hearing that from you, that makes me feel pretty good knowing that
But you know what's great about this? Even if I didn't play that game, I think that's what's bugging me out. I think because when you think of video game movies, you don't really have a good taste in your mouth.
No, not even.
Yeah. So like they're knocking this out the park, and I appreciate it. And I think that even if I hadn't played any of the games ever, I would still enjoy the show. It's that good, personally. So the visuals of this show is fucking amazing, bro.
What's cool is that's my point of view. Is I know the story because I saw some playthroughs and I got to hear people talk about their experiences with the game. I myself didn't play it. I only played like a little bit of it, but nothing in the fact that it's gonna be like super memorial in my head, because those aren't the type of genre of games I play in the first place. Like, I'm not really one of those like follow the path
Resident Evil type of thing.
You know, the characters are isolated to certain movements, and like I get really bored with that kind of shit when it's not just like go as you go, have fun, fucking giant sandbox, fuck everything up, you know, destroy. I get really bored with that kind of shit. But I know for sure that the story of Last of Us and Last of Us 2 are very compelling stories. And there, you know, there was, like we've said before, there was some type of like weird controversies in the second game. But even with those controversies being there, the games story-wise still were very successful, and they still did very well and resonated very good with the fan base. To me, that makes importance to the idea of when they do a live action, if they stick to the fan base, then if they stick to the source material, you at least bring the fan base into it. And, you know, you have a huge opportunity to have double the impact, because not only did you already create a great game, you then create great visuals in the live action, and then everybody's happy. Because right now, from being on the outside coming in, I don't know how true to the game they are, but like the establishing character of the lady that was with Joel,
Tess.
like the way it ended at the ending of the show, I thought that was very like damn, that was crazy. Like, it was a lot of emotion that was established to it. There's the scene where they're doing the backstory of like the clickers and the zombies in this film, like where they're talking to that scientist lady. And then she kind of breaks it down onto what they need to do. And then of course you have the scene later where they're like, oh, look, was that when they first create the creators or whatever, like, and they kind of like touch base on it really quick, but there's backstory to it to where I have enough to know like, oh fuck, that's what that is. I didn't need to play the game to see what that was about. And then they talk, what compels me more than anything right now is I am so confused how these people survive in a world where like the fucking zombies can know where each other is because of like the mushroom factor and the ropes and the fucking roots. I'm like, dude, I would be dead like in 2 days, man. I would have made so many mistakes. So like you really do feel the tension of every episode when the characters are like, dude, literally yesterday or the episode this past week was established that this was literally them going through one fucking building. Like that's all that episode was.
So that's what the thing about this show is like, if you hadn't played the game before, all you had to do was watch that episode. Like that episode was literally, and you know what's great about that episode 2 is that it watched like a video game, yeah, exactly, like how you play it.
What was the part that made you feel
I'm telling you, the set designs they've been knocking that out the park. Yeah. The hotel and the museum specifically are literally taken straight out of the game.
Like 1-for-1 scale, right?
It's crazy how on point they were with the hotel, especially like the hotel is one, like even if you've barely played that game, you remember the hotel. Even if you barely played that game, you remember the museum and the clickers. Like the first time you see the clickers, like that scene where they got attacked by the clickers is exactly how it is in the game. That's awesome. It's really cool. Like this is one of the times where when they're sticking to the source material, that they're actually nailing it. They're getting it right. Like you can tell they care.
What was really funny to me was there's one scene particular that I remember in this episode that really reminded me that it was based on a video game, which was they get up to the top of the building where they have to cross to a bridge or something. And the bridge like had a building collapse on it or whatever. And the chick, the female is like, oh, well, I'll go in real quick. You guys wait for me.
Yeah.
And she gets in and she makes it through. And then Joel peeks. And literally, this is right out of like a video game, like not even funny. He peeks through and goes, hey, what's up? Like, are you all right in there? And she's like, yeah, but you guys are going to have to give me a minute. Wait for me. And then she walks off set and you're stuck with that other character in the room. And you know, that's the dialogue part. Like, that's the part where like, okay, cool. Like I'm going to get story in this cutscene or whatever. Yep. Like it was like perfectly put in the idea that like, okay, the secondary character that gives you assistance out of your 3-man team is leaving and you're only stuck with this little character and there's going to be some development. Mm-hmm. And then that character is going to come in and be like, you should come and see this plot armor character storyline is coming up. then she opens the door and it's like some other situation that's going on. That literally.
So, like I said, this episode played just like you think a video game would. Like it's pretty uncanny, to be honest with you. It's really good.
I'm really enjoying the show. Like I said, I played very little bit of the game. I know a lot about the story. A lot of people, again, it's making some type of marks out there. A lot of people aren't talking about it yet because it hasn't gotten a lot of wind. But apparently, they've renewed Last of Us for season 2, and apparently they've already started casting for the Abby character, which is the character that had a lot of drama behind it. Being that the backstory was Abby's character originally was supposed to be a transgender character, and then last minute, I believe the director changed it to her being a female, but still very masculine looking, taking peak physical condition of herself. They actually got an actress that they're looking at right now that's from a series called Wild Rides or Wild On, or I forgot what it is. I'll have to find it later. I kind of want to wait to see if it's real, but this girl looks almost exactly like Abby. Like, it's crazy how almost like on the spot this female actress looks like her. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Last, and I'll share my scene of us 2.
What did you think about the episode?
I enjoyed the shit out of it. I thought it was great. It was a great. It was fundamentally awesome. I think the character that was there with Joel, the female lady at the end, you're hoping that she kind of like, she knows that she's going to have to the situation. I don't want to ruin it if anybody hasn't seen it. There's a situation that she has to do something, and it doesn't go her way. That whole scene was like disturbingly unsettling for myself while you're watching it. Like something like while it's happening to her. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Which is where the other person in the scene gets extremely close to her, and you get that vibe like it's gonna get real nasty or real like she's just gonna get like attacked or whatnot. And dude, it was intense.
Did you see the news that The Last of Us sales, like the video game sales, have been up 322%?
Fuck yeah, dude. I was gonna say, like, everyone's gonna be back.
I was waiting for that headline. I'm like, after the first episode, I'm like, can you imagine how many people ran to PlayStation Store and bought that game?
Dude, I mean, can you, like, as a fan, how awesome does that feel?
I think that's fucking amazing. I think that's amazing because I don't think
people are jumping on it and making it
exactly.
More
I think it's amazing because I don't think that game gets enough credit. I think a lot of people have always slept on that game, and it's finally now getting some justice. I was scared that they weren't going to be able to pull it off, but now that I'm seeing that they're able to pull it off, then yeah, fuck it. Like I think it's dope. I think more people should play that game. It's amazing.
I think
it's one of the better ones out there.
I think with the opportunity of what this show is doing, I think this is where other video game franchises need to look at when it comes for their opportunity. Because I'm a huge motherfucking fan for Metal Gear Solid. Giant fan. And I've been so scared to where, like, I even remember I was freaking the fuck out one day because the dude that made the movie House of the Dead, I don't even remember that shit show of a movie. It's pretty much the guy that made like fucking Monster Hunter. Okay. Like just like some weird fucking shit. Like he was like, the director had posted up that he got the rights to make the Metal Gear movie. And I was like, fuck no, fuck this guy, fucking fuck. Like I was so mad that this weird ass motherfucker got the rights that, he's done rights to films and he's done them like the Fantastic Four when fucking Sony got it kind of shit, where like they kind of know and they want to use the assets, but they have their own idea on what Dr. Doom's like, you know what I mean? And then they fucking destroy just the image of his character. Mm-hmm. And the thing is I don't know how big of a fan you are or how big of a fan anybody is in the comment section or watching. Metal Gear is a very elaborate story when it comes to like the political nature and espionage part of film, all the way from like the Cold War to now. Even like World War II to now, to all these establishing characters when it comes to like Big Boss and Big Mama and Solid and Solidus and Liquid Snake and Revolver Ocelot and Voltag or Volstag or whatever his name is. I forgot his fucking name. The Russian guy that shoots bullets out of his hands. Like, there's a lot of characters that have so much depth to their character. And then to know that some fucking weird director that makes like some shit movies that just wants to make money got the rights to it. Like, I want James Cameron to do a goddamn fucking Metal Gear movie. Like, that's what I want. I want someone that's going to do justice for it. And you know what? As a matter of fact, did you know James Cameron was supposed to create Angel Battle Alita? That was like his passion project. Did you ever get to see that movie?
No.
Man, you should watch that shit. That's a great movie, Battle Angel Alita. It's based on an anime called Battle Angel Alita. And it's kind of like Astro Boy. I don't know if you remember the movie story Astro Boy, where like it's about a character who used to be human, has the mentality of a human, but then ends up being where they're turned into like a complete cyborg, but they still have like the heart of the human person.
Yep.
And then they end up kind of like taking their mentality, being a good person, but establishing their own lives. That's kind of like the same story, but they have like some awesome technology in them that kind of gives them that edge on everybody else. You know what I mean? So Battle Angel Alita is the same way. Robert Rodriguez is the director of it, and it's based on a fucking Japanese anime that James Cameron had picked up. He bought the rights to do the film earlier, but he knew that he wasn't going to have time with all of his projects. So he then brought in Robert Rodriguez to make it, and they fucking knocked it out of the park, dude.
Yeah.
Knocked it out of the park. It's such a great movie. You haven't had a chance to see it. A couple of my friends, the late Lassiter Holmes was in it. A couple of my other friends, because they all got to drive up to San Antonio and they made them all extras. So like, nice. You know, Robert Rodriguez kind of was like, hey, dude, if you can make it up, we're going to make a big like battle arena coliseum, and we need like the people in the crowd. So if you can make it out, you know, it'd be cool. And yeah, a bunch of my friends went up there and were extras in this movie. And it was a fucking awesome movie. Awesome movie. You haven't seen it.
Nice.
But yeah, The Last of Us so far, for me, being on the outside of the video game, not being such a huge player or being able to establish myself in the fan base, has been nothing but a fucking treat. Pedro Pascal, the young lady or the young person, I say, because I know that person recently has come out with their reveal of their gender or whatnot. You know, shout out to that person. Has done an amazing job. And so far, everybody on the show is just doing so great. And then I found out this past show that the set designer that made the fucking dude in the wall, you know what I'm talking about? The whole the zombie runner. That's the same set from Stranger Things.
Okay.
It's the same guy. The guys that make all the Upside Down are all the same set directors for this.
Okay.
So like that's why you get a lot of like the fucking twigs and wires and vines, and it kind of correlates really, really well. But there's just so much about the show that I'm really digging right now, and I really, really appreciate it. I'm happy that they're going in the direction they're going for the film. Can't wait for more. My best friend Christella is watching it alongside with me, and she's like, "Man, I already want a third episode." Like, you know what I mean? Like that desire.
That's one of the things I kind of regret, or I'm kind of upset about, is that you can't binge it. You have to wait each week for it. It sucks.
But they know how to keep people coming back, man. It's not really about watching the entire series. It's more about how much traction you have opening the app. So
honestly, you don't have to play the game after watching this show.
Yeah, most definitely you don't. This is
like it's literally like shot for shot. Like if you watch this show, there's really no need to play the game unless you just want to play.
It kind of gets me excited for like, can you imagine if they did like a God of War series?
That would be dope.
Or like even like I know that there's the next one that I know it's closer to the talking. I mean, of course we have Mario Brothers. Nothing against that. I don't know how that's going to be yet. I'm excited for that too. But Gears of War, Gears of War is a really great franchise, and you've
been talking about that for a while. Yeah,
Dave Bautista. We talked about him 2 weeks ago, and his acting suave that he wants to kind of get these challenging roles. Of course, that one correlates more with the brute character. But the thing about Gears of War is it had such a beautiful story also. It just so happened that all the characters look like fucking giant weightlifters. So he just fits the role perfectly. So it just gets me excited for what's to come. What's to come for all of these like games to film. And onwards, I know it's late, Brian. I don't want to keep you on anymore, but I want to bring this up. Have you heard? This is the last part of our conversation. The Rick and Morty drama. Are you kind of understanding with the situation or no?
Yeah, I was kind of
Just checking
not
it out.
aware. Yeah, I wasn't really up on what was going on, but you kind of explained it to me behind the scenes, and so now I'm kind of caught up. And yeah, it's very, very weird and
It's
interesting.
rough, right?
Yeah.
So the reason why I bring it up is I got hit up a lot this week for it. A lot of people are hitting me up asking if we were going to be discussing it. And the reason why is because Adult Swim as a company finally made they made a move and a comment based on the situation saying they were not going to be working with Justin Roiland anymore and they were going to let him go. But Rick and Morty as a series was going to continue. And there was a lot of people that were like, well, what about this? What about that? There's a lot of emotions that were being thrown around. How do you feel? Because I know it's a little bit like it's not really all that big of a news for you because you're kind of like, like I don't really, it didn't catch me yet. And it had been
And
going
not only that, but like I watch Rick and Morty, but I'm not like a huge Rick and Morty fan.
So and it's understandable. How do you feel about it on the outside? Because and the reason why I ask is because I'm a pretty big fan of Rick and Morty. I think it's a fun show. I think it's great. I think the last season that they did was very unpopular. And the reason why is because of the themes surrounding those episodes. And, I'll talk about them a little bit later, but this current season is going really, really fantastic. I think it's great. But being that you're not a big fan, you're not emotionally invested, how do you feel about reading about this and understanding about it?
What these allegations, and again, these are just allegations as of right now, because he hasn't gone through the process yet, but these allegations are wild. Like I don't even want to explain on camera what they sound like, those charges sound like to me. But yeah, I mean, if he is, I mean, I'm assuming that they're under the assumption that there's some, there could be some things that may be true here, or I don't know, but they think it's serious enough that he needs to step away. So yeah, I mean, I think that's a smart idea personally.
Do you feel like the way that, of course, like the studio itself is handling it, but at the same way, the law enforcement of that area, I think it's Orange County, do you feel like they're handling the situation well on the way that they're doing it with him? Or do you feel like they're being lenient, or do you feel like they're following the correct way?
Well, I'm not really up to date as to what has happened to him. Is he in jail, or
no, he's on
bond. He's on bond, right?
It's a $50,000 bond.
I mean, regardless, I mean, what do you mean? What do you mean if the people are being too easy on him? What do you mean?
Well, the reason why I say is because these are allegations, and he just paid his bond and got out. Yeah. Across the world in another country, in Romania, they're doing that shit to that Tate guy, and he's still in jail for 30 days, still based on the allegations without being released.
Well, that's Romania. We have nothing. I mean, I understand that. Over here in America, you do have the right to bail out. So regardless on whether or not people think that's the due process. You are, if the judge has the option of granting you bail if they deem that you're not a flight risk, and they deem you bail, that's a right as an American citizen. So there's no leniency there. I don't see that at all.
Okay. And I wanted to just compare that because that's one of the comparisons I heard to someone in the news. The other comparison is, if this guy is being released from Adult Swim with the idea of just misconduct, but it hasn't been proven, there's still trial, he's only had to pay bail and all this other stuff. Why is it that this company was able to do that, but Ezra Miller is still working alongside Warner Brother in DC, and they haven't really fired him yet? Why do you think that's
because no one has incited a huge enough problem with it. That's why.
Okay. The other thing too is like
Ezra Miller there hasn't been enough people. If there were enough people calling for Ezra Miller's job, he would have been fired. But no one has spoken up. No one has said anything about it.
Well, I mean, no, there's a lot of people. I mean, during the whole entire allegations of him actually being arrested, going to court.
I have not heard that. We have been
needs
covering this. We have been covering this since day one. So we are both
we were some of the
in
first
the
people
know.
that are like, yo, they need to cut ties with this motherfucker.
We were, but a lot of people were not saying that. A lot of people weren't saying, oh, he needs to lose his job or this movie should not be coming out. Like there weren't a lot of people saying that. And I'm telling you, we both were covering it. There weren't a lot of people saying that.
I mean, there is a good amount of, I mean, of course, from the studios and I mean, the people that are associated with the bigger companies, they don't want to be, you know, in the limelight. But the majority of the communities have all been speaking out against Ezra Miller because of like the conduct that he's been carrying himself in, you know, assaulting people on video, you know, assaulting normal people that just walk up to him with a camera saying that he's willing to assault them if they don't leave him alone, you know, just him correlating with like the grooming and the barn scene allegation where he has children with firearms and all this. They were just weird shit all over the place.
Yo, as far as I'm concerned, they both need to be locked up. To be honest with you, like I'm not a big fan of Rick and Morty, but just from a person hearing the charges and what they read, like they just read fucked up. They read bad. Like there's nothing good about that story at all.
To me, this is one of those things that I just think, and I talked to you about this a little bit. If this was any person of a colored race background, no fucking chance. No chance. This is to me, when people throw slanderous accusations around, I'm a real big person when it comes to protocol. So like the moment, if I was at a company and my boss found out that there's an allegation against me with like a child or a fucking woman, instantly they would have been like, get your shit, get the fuck out. And why is that? It's not because just I'm colored or I'm a person of color. It's because of the fact that, you know, the company does not want to be associated with someone with that type of reputation, because the company itself needs to, you know, defend itself reputations wise. I mean, what do you feel about that? Do you think that's correct?
I believe there are some aspects of that are true. I think, but this, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that because, I don't see anything that would have changed whether this person was. I mean, other than I think everything that would have happened to a black person or to a person of color happened to this guy. I think he got fired. He went to jail. He bonded out. Are you mean like the backlash? Do you mean like?
Well, even no, I mean just the aspect of like there is like a really awkward moment where people care more about how Rick and Morty is going to survive and not give a fuck about the actual victim involved.
Oh,
like,
I mean,
it's really weird.
I'm sorry to say, and it's sickening to say. I should say that doesn't surprise me. Like that's the culture we live in.
That's been tripping me out all this time, man. Is that there's so many people that are like, oh man, he's the heart of the show, or he's like the voice of all the characters. What are they gonna do? And it's like, well, I don't know. What do you think the fucking person that was getting their ass kicked or raped or fucking beaten? Like, what do you think they're gonna do? Like, is that not a fucking person that we should be caring about? Who the fuck cares about
for
the
me,
cartoon?
yeah, for me that would come off extremely, extremely, extremely creepy to me because again, I don't even have the source material to even have an emotion like that. Like there's no spark like that for me. So it's like, so the fuck what? You can get another voice actor. You can get someone else to do it. It's not the end of the world.
That's been my biggest part of this conversation when it's come to me, where people are like, oh, hey Chris, what do you think? Like Rick and Morty, it looks like it might get canceled. They're going to do voice actors. And in my mind, I'm like, I don't give a fuck about the cartoon. Like, I want to know that the person that this is involved with, I want to know they're okay. Like, I want to know that this guy's not a fucking monster. And the whole time was making cartoons to make us laugh. And while he was fucking hurting another human being.
Yeah. So
like, fuck the cartoon if he was really hurting these people. And, you know, I hope that they get their due diligence. They get their money out of this motherfucker. And he fucking pays for what he did.
What's alarming is that they're not canceling the show. That's weird to me. Yeah, they're not just canceling. They're gonna continue the show, but they're just gonna replace him. that means to me that they think there could be some validity to some of these accusations.
Yep.
Because if there weren't, and you thought that there would have been a situation where he beats
they would
this,
just put a little suspension, maybe.
they would have just stopped the show. They would have just stopped it, just put it on a hiatus, stop it dead in its tracks, and just wait for this to clear out, and then come back with Rick and Morty. But the fact that you're moving on and just cutting ties with him just completely,
I think they know. I think
that's
there's something in there.
That's telling to me. Yeah.
And I told you before, like, I'm not a big fan of the other fucking guy that makes this TV show. His name's Dan Harmon, right?
Yeah.
It's Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon. He made some very inappropriate shit back in the day. I'm not saying if it's correlates with his actual lifestyles or not, but they're just things that me on a personal level, I don't think are at all any type of funny. And literally anybody that I've shown the video to of him doing his thing, they don't understand it as the way he claims it to be. And when he got called out for it, which is technically around the same time that James Gunn got called out. Like, this guy went on a whole PR trip, deleted all his stuff, went back in history, deleted every tweet, deleted his whole entire contacts, like jumped offline, like literally just hid from everything. And then came back, and the first thing he did was made an apology tweet. Like, that's the first thing he did. And it's like, to me, that just feels a little suspicious. Because if you feel that people took your sense of humor wrong, then you just stick to your guns and be like, well, I mean, you don't get it. That's fine. If I offended somebody, I'm sorry, but it's just my joke.
Yeah.
You don't go on a fucking crazy thing and just start deleting everything you got. That just makes you look real fucking suspicious. So,
I mean, for that, I don't blame anybody, and I'm sorry, but just that one aspect, I don't think looks a little bit weird, because in today's society, bro, like, you gotta keep yourself clean, because they'll get you for
they'll fucking catch your ass slipping all over the place.
They'll get you. So I don't necessarily dislike that tactic. Like, sometimes, I mean, you could have been the times could have been different at a certain point. And
I do want to say that we need to make sure that we do our due diligence and research, not just come to terms and use our emotions to point fingers and automatically claim things. As of now, there's a lot of information that has not come out and a lot of evidence that hasn't been brought up against this individual yet. All we know is that he's already just provided bail, and there has been from another case that happened in 2020, which is still the ongoing case.
Yeah.
So as of right now, he isn't innocent, nor is he guilty. Adult Swim can do whatever the fuck. This is just my opinion. They can do whatever the fuck they want to do with the situation. I think you're absolutely correct. And I think if deep down inside Adult Swim kind of feels like there's a possibility that he's innocent, I think the suspension would have probably been the smarter move. But I think the way you put it is pretty good, which is like, well, you know what? Like, if they're willing to let this guy go and find someone to replace him in, I think they kind of know some shit, or at least like have the vibe that this might be something.
Or even like no matter how this plays out, this guy is not salvageable. Like, we can't sell this with him anymore, no matter how this plays out. Even if he is found innocent, it could be a situation where, you know, we might be fucked regardless. So we just have to cut ties with him now. And they're willing to make that trade. They're willing to make that.
Now, of course, I say we have to do our due diligence, because I know there's a lot of detail about this thing that we're not speaking about. George just put in the comment section right now, taking a natural position on that. But what about the DMs? Which I'm guessing that there have been some type of messaging or conversation that has been posted based on the trial or whatnot. But my thing is, those can be altercated very easily. DMs, online stuff, there still needs to be investigation. Is there manipulation to the texts or whatnot? It's super easy to fabricate those. So I think in the sense of courts and all that shit nowadays, I think text messages and DMs from social media, unless there's like database provided with the messages, it's very easy to fabricate messages just by whiting out the background and writing in your own text, and anybody can say any little thing based on it. Those have to be due diligently, like literally fucking surgically cut apart to make sure that they're actual like conversational pieces. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
And then George says, only man that could save Justin Roiland is Ezra Miller, bro. Yep, they need to kind of meet up. If they meet up, man, you know that shit's sus as fuck, dude. They're like, you teach me your ways, bro. I need to know your masterful ways of evading. But overall, I do pray for the victim, and I hope that she gets her justice. And if this is some fabricated story that isn't real, you know, I think that let me ask you on that, because this isn't the first time, if that would be a thing. I'm not saying it is, but if the victim that is talking in the case or the court case creates and fabricates a story based on this and it not be real, what do you think should happen to those people? Because a lot of the times
it's against the law. So they go. It's against the law to go on.
They should spend time, right? They should.
It's against the law. Yeah, that's
okay. So I was gonna say, man, if you destroy someone's life, like, you better be fucking prepared to fucking spend some fuck up time in jail.
So, I do believe that there should be some consequences to lying on someone for something, for accusing them of a very serious crime. I think that there should be some type of responsibility taken there, and there needs to be some consequences. So at least for nothing, to make it a precedent that that can't be tolerated, and there you'll go to jail, or whatever, be a fine, something, whatever.
Excellent. Brian, what do you got planned for this weekend, my guy?
Yo, bro, it's Royal Rumble weekend, dude. So I'm be with my boys starting tomorrow afternoon, all weekend, just getting drunk and watching wrestling and
you
stuff
guys heard
like
it
that.
here first. If you're watching Royal Rumble this weekend, make sure you DM Brian, hit him up in the comment section. You ask him during the wrestling event if you're watching it.
How about yourself, buddy? What do you got going on this weekend?
We have two little events that we're going to be acquiring. We have United Collectors Expo, which is pretty much a 300 to 500 people event. Usually show up, cosplay, sell vendor stuff, cool little meetup, indoor market. The next one is going to be tomorrow night. We have a Dungeons and Dragons event meetup where people are going to be at a local pub, and they're going to be a bunch of people doing dungeon master shit, like kind of like when we talk about Michael Betancourt coming in and stuff. There's going to be like 5 or 6 guys setting up games where you could just jump in and join in and just kind of like drink and play Dungeons and Dragons with a bunch of people till 2 a.m.
That's pretty dope.
They're going to meet it up. One of our good friends, Michael Murphy, is going to be the guy that's kind of like the event coordinator. It's getting a lot of people together. I think it's going to be a good time. It's going to be fun. And I mean, of course, like we've talked about before here on the show, the popularity of Dungeons and Dragons has grown in the last several years. Stranger Things, the film, Vox Machina, the cartoon on Amazon Prime, a lot of them have picked up. You can actually pick up cool little beginner packages at like Target now, since it's so much more mainstream. So like the opportunity of being able to jump in is so cool, but getting to meet people that have been established in the community is always a fun time. They want to get out there and meet new followers and new members and show you the opportunities and cool things that you could do.
Of course.
Games wise, I'm playing Arma 3. Of course, that's been my game of games. It's very much like a big military simulator, like Warzone, but Grand Theft Auto. Been practicing my drone flying, so I got my control here that I hook up to my PC and play simulators. Okay. The cool thing about these drone controls that a lot of people don't know, if you ever want to get into this stuff, and this is a conversation I eventually want to have with do a show based on like drone flying, is the control base. Check this out, dude. So of course you've played video games your entire life, right?
Yeah.
So when you look at a control, they're pretty much like this, right? The buttons on top, the joysticks. But the crazy thing is when you fly a drone that's first person view, like the crazy videos of them flipping and doing all that shit like in the game, check this out. This is the thrust, right? This is what makes the fans go. It starts from 0.
Okay.
So like you're beginning, you're used to video games starting in here. So the tension up and down. But imagine using something for so many years and then getting it to where it starts like this. This has been my biggest obstacle.
Okay.
Hugest obstacle. So just to shout out, like, it's so crazy, like an interesting conversation, just something that I've been kind of dabbling with for the last couple of weeks. And
nice.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of see if I can get my due diligence and get in there and really work hard and see if I can be a good person at doing this stuff. But Yeah, going to be a regular great weekend. I got to vent yesterday. I feel a lot better now, and I'm so much happier I got to come on here and get to chat with you and get to see everybody in the comment section. I appreciate everybody. We hope that everybody has a great weekend. Don't forget to let us know what you're doing this weekend. Hit us up in our comments. Hit us up in our DMs. Message us independently if you want. Let us know what you guys are doing. Make sure you hit up Brian. He's part of another podcast also called Gym Class Majors. Shout out to
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. I hope you guys are doing good. I hope you guys in the show is doing great. Guys, let us know what is going on. Thank you so much for tuning in. To all our extraordinary listeners, thank you so much for tuning in with us this Friday and being a part of the show. We hope you guys have a great weekend. Peace, love, and chicken grease.
Peace.
Oh, what happened?